Got it wrong, I didn't.
Yeah, that is a rare occasion. I've driven with you enough times.
Take the next left. Oh, sorry, it was meant to be the next right.
Yes. Cries of Kohli around the ground. He's on 70 from 57. Janssen moves in, bowls to Virat Kohli, who's got under this for 6. Out towards the Garfield Sobers Pavilion, on to the roof of it as well. What a shot. Absolutely brilliant.
That is massive from Virat Kohli, absolutely massive. I actually think it's gone out of the ground, over the pavilion. The Indian fans absolutely love it, and Virat Kohli just opens up that front leg and clatters the ball out of the ground. It was a slower ball, picks up the length so well, 95 metres, and they're bringing the spare ball bag out because that ball has gone out of the park.
That is a massive hit, and Kohli riled by that lack of a wide being signalled early on in the over. He hit it and did not even bother following the trajectory because he knew from the feel off the bat, or sometimes when you hit so well you don't even feel it, that the ball was sailing away out towards that Garfield Sobers Pavilion. I'm sure he's here today. He's been here for many games in the tournament. The great man will have enjoyed that. On 6-3 for 4. Kohli's on to 76.
What they do so well in baseball, and I'm bringing this up because half the World Cup has been in America, is if the ball goes into the crowd or out the ground or whatever, they just get a new one. Whereas in cricket, we faff around, we try and find it, we try and get the ball back. And I like the fact that they just go, no, just bring out the ball bag, we'll get a new one.
But it's quite important in cricket, the ball,
is.
in a way that it is not in baseball. I mean, you need a ball, obviously, but it's the age and condition is what I mean.
We've run out. Anyone got an ink ready?
Right, Janssen to finish. Tortuous spell. He's got 2 balls left on it. Kohli is waiting. He's gone hard at that down the ground. Not sure he's got the distance, and he's caught. Rabada with the catch in the deep. Kohli's fine innings comes to an end. Excellent 76 from 59 deliveries, but he's been caught at long on, and it's 163 for 5 as he tried to repeat the trick. Maybe that ball was a little bit heavier. Who knows? He didn't get all of it. High up on the bat, and away it goes into the hands of Kagisa Rabada.
Yeah, slow ball from Janssen, back of a length. It was shorter than the previous delivery into the pitch. Virat Kohli looking for the same shot, doesn't get hold of it. It's a huge wicket actually, because Virat Kohli was just starting to motor. And he's had a decent knock there for India, but that wicket has come at a good time.
You feel, again, it's funny things, isn't it, in a match? Start an innings well, it can be very hard to get things back of the opposition, and in the end, that over really did turn things early on for South Africa. It looked almost in the early stages like it was getting out of hand very early on. You can finish the innings well with the ball. It can give you real belief. You think, oh, we thought we were going to be chasing 180, we're only chasing 175. That feels a little better.
Yeah.
Even small things like that.
And what we've seen today is it only takes one batter to get in and get a score, and you're naturally going to get up to that 160 as long as people are chipping in around you.
In comes Janssen to bowl to Hardik Pandya, who's spooned the ball in the air. It's going to clear the fielder down at short third, and it skips on with a load of topspin and goes to the boundary for 4 runs. So 17 from the over. Janssen's spell, 4 overs, 1 for 49, is not one that he'll be terribly pleased with, and it's 167 for 5 after 90.
He's unlucky with that last delivery though, isn't he? Going for 4. The over should have gone for 13, maybe 14 had they got a single off that, but Hardik Pandya looking to pull the ball into the leg side, swings so hard he ends up doing a full 360, and the top edge goes over the keeper, and he actually hits the advertising board in front of us and kicks on down towards the boundary.
So doing what he needed to do there, Hardik Pandya, just swinging at it early doors. Does that very well. He's a very dangerous player. So 1 over left of this India innings. They've managed to accelerate things towards the back end of it. Kohli out, 76 from 59. If you want to see some of the best shots of the innings, head to the BBC Sport website and app. Heinrich Nokia is going to bowl the final over. Mustachioed figure. Looks like could be an extra from a spaghetti western. He might walk into a saloon.
Yeah, he does.
Doors swinging.
He's one of those hats.
A cowboy.
Yeah.
Stetson. Like Rishabh Pant had that hat early on in the tournament. I'll tell you about that. Here comes Henrik Nortje running into bowl to Dubé outside the off stump. That'll be wide. He was trying to find that wide line Yorker, but he didn't quite get his radar right. 168 for 5.
I know that the whole Pakistan team went to a rodeo in America.
Did they?
They'll put their hats on.
Well, they can now say this ain't my first rodeo.
This ain't my first rodeo.
Yeah. No, Rishabh Pant wasn't led into a restaurant where we were dining because he was wearing a hat and pointed. And he had to be led to the front where it said no hats. And he went and sat on his own outside. Anyway, here comes Nortje running into bowl to Dubé on 22. That's a better ball. It's whipped away into the leg side on the bounce, collected at mid-wicket. They'll just get the one run. 169 for 5. 5 balls left of the innings.
Just see Markram just telling his fielders exactly where to go by just pointing at the boundary. 1, 2, 3.
They've been good in the field today.
Been so good. I've been really impressed with their fielding, actually. The fielding makes such a difference when it comes to T20 cricket. We saw Australia in one of their games. They were woeful in the field. In fact, they field well for a few games.
Nortje it is, running in, away from us. And bowling a very good delivery right in the block hole. It is dug out by Hardik Pandya. He'll run through for 1, but only 1. So wide, single to start the over. 170 for 5. If you want to join the conversation, by the way, tms@bbc.co.uk on the email. And on the BBC Sport website and app, our live text commentary is up and running.
Who's in charge of that today?
Today, well, good friend of ours. Here comes Henrik Nortje into bowl to Dubé, who's drilling the ball down the ground. He gets 4, beats the dive of mid-on. Rather dug it out, and Nortje crouches down to redo his shoot. There's the South African skipper, Aiden Markram, on his haunches, now picks himself up, with the score now reaching 174 for 5, with 3 balls left.
Yeah, it's a great shot as well, isn't it? Probably in the slot a little bit, looking for the Yorker, doesn't quite get it. Crunches the ball down the ground. They needed that boundary, India. 180 is definitely on here.
Yeah, that will feel a lot to me. That will be quite a test for this South Africa side, who chasing have looked panicky at times in this tournament, but they have to just believe they've just got to go for it.
Well, the thing is, they've played on tough pitches, tough wickets. They've found themselves in, you know, situations where they've been 4 down quite early on.
In comes Nortje, bowling a ball which is a full toss down the ground, could be a catch. Oh, and it is, good catch, David Miller. It almost took him out down there on the boundary edge. It got to him very quickly. And Dubé goes, caught it long off, and Miller gets a hug and a little bit of a joke with his captain, but
he's nearly eaten that. It was crunched down the ground from Dubé. Full toss, and Miller is running in full speed. He thinks he's going to drop short, and he has to stop and take the catch. And that'd have knocked his teeth out had he not have got his hands in the way there.
It would have done. He'll feel he's missed out there, Dubé, because that was a full toss. Possibly should have been launched over the boundary. It wasn't, so it's 174 for 6.
33% of them get wickets.
And so you keep telling. It's Fionn Wynne who's looking after things on the live text commentary. If you want to join that conversation, please do so, and you'll find your in-play highlights there as well. And you follow the conversation. You can listen to our commentary there too. And, I should say, upcoming Men's International Test Summer, which gets underway week on Wednesday. Have your text commentaries there as well. Outside the off stump, hit away in the air, into the deep. Who wants it? Which fielder's going to run round to pick up? Well, it's going to be 2 runs off the bat of Jadeja first up. Eventually there was a bit yes, no, maybe from Tristan Stubbs out there on the boundary alongside Jansen, who...
I don't think Jansen saw it because he didn't move. He stood completely still until the ball bounced.
We've got 1 ball left of the innings. It was a funny one, man. So Nortje's over, has only had 9 from it, which is not bad going at the end of an innings.
I don't like the live text, you know, because everyone gives me thumbs downs all the time.
It's because of what you say.
Give me a thumbs up.
176 for 6. Nortje bowls a ball which goes spooning up in the air. Who wants it? Fielder running round, takes a good tumbling catch. And so the innings ends with a wicket. The final over sees 2 fall. 9 from it. And at the end of all of that, India have got a good total. Is it a match-winning total? 176 for 7. It'll be 177 for South Africa to climb a mountain they've never climbed and win an ICC World Cup. For India, well, it's been a long old wait for them, 13 years. And as we see Jadeja trotting off with Hardik Pandya behind him, India, I think, will be the happier of the two sides, is my instinct, Alex.
Yeah, I think it's going to be enough, to be completely honest. When you look at the India bowling attack, world-class bowling attack, we saw that the pitch is spinning as well. So there is going to be a little bit in it for the bowlers, for the spinners. And it's going to be a tough ask for South Africa. But what we do know is it takes one person to get in and to get a big score. And they are right in this game.
Well, that's it. And that's what they've got to believe. And Quinton de Kock has looked in decent touch, actually, in the last couple of matches. And he feels like somebody that could, if he gets a quick start, and just don't forget that pressure can affect this Indian bowling lineup. As good as they are, you know that if they can find a way getting hold of Jasprit Bumrah, that will send shockwaves through the Indian bowling lineup more generally, I think. So how did this innings play out, where Rohit Sharma was the first wicket to fall after a really quick start? He was caught by Klaasen well in the deep off the bowling of Maharaj, who got a wicket 2 balls later with Rishabh Pant caught spooning the ball in the air to Quinton de Kock. Second ball without scoring. Surya Kumar Yadav only made 3 from 4. It looked really problematic for India at that stage before Axar Patel and Virat Kohli put on an excellent partnership. That just seemed to swing the momentum. And at that point, it was one of those where you look at it and you think, okay, well, how many can they get from this platform? But Patel was run out. Good bit of work from Quinton de Kock. 47 from 31. And then Virat Kohli, 76 off 59. He accelerated towards the back end of his innings, and it was crucial that in those final few overs, India went close to 12 and over in the final 5, which was, you feel, really significant and important. And Dubé caught 27 from 16 balls, and Jadeja 2 from 2. So that's how the innings played out in terms of the bowling figures. 2 for Maharaj, 2 for Nortje, who are both excellent.
Kesh,
and
2
here
for
is
23 in 3 overs. India off to a flyer. You come in to bowl the second over. What was your mindset?
I was just trying to use the surface and see if I could use the breeze to my advantage, and, you know, lucky enough it did pay off.
What have you made of how the surface has played today?
I started off a little bit slow, and then I think it's starting to get a little bit better now. So, you know, hopefully that's a low enough score for us to chase.
In a big match like this, you want your fielders to step up, and they surely did for you today.
Yeah, definitely. I think the catching and the outfielding was superb. I mean, something we pride ourselves on as South Africans, so it's good to see it come to fruition on the final stage.
177 to win the World Cup. Can you do it?
Yes, definitely. I think we can. The boys are ready to go. Opportunities like this don't come easily, so, you know, hopefully we can grab it with both hands.
Well played.
Thank you.
So Keshav Maharaj chatting there on at the boundary edge to Kasan Naidu. So 177 will be the target for South Africa. Can they possibly do it? Well, a man who's been following the tournament, part of our team throughout, Bharat Sundaresan, who finds himself living in Australia, from India. And Bharat, what have you made of the first innings and what we've seen?
The kind of innings that a lot of people in India would have been worried about. At the halfway mark, when Virat Kohli got to his 50 of 48 balls, I could see on social media, opinions were divided. Ooh, what's Virat doing here? And he's been criticized quite a bit for his strike rates. But I think at this point, it's pretty late at night in India. They would be tucking into your dinner now. You know how Indians are, how late they eat. And I think they'll be pretty happy with the way things have finished. They have a Virat Kohli innings of which the highlights they'll see for the rest of their lives, especially the 6 of Marco Jansen towards the end. But having said all of that, it's been a pitch where you've seen batters sit on the up. Even that 6 that Virat hit, a couple of 6s from Axar Patel, who played a crucial hand. He's quietly been India's MVP for this World Cup, hasn't he? With ball, with bat, he comes in at different positions with bat in hand. So I think India will be quietly confident. Jasprit Bumrah is warming up, and on his shoulders rest a lot of India's hopes to win this World Cup. This World Cup that's eluded them for, like I said, over a dozen years. But don't count out Kuldeep Yadav either. For me, the way South Africa handle Kuldeep Yadav will decide this game. They're still in it. They're not out of it yet.
Well, I can see Jasprit Bumrah is in his full bowling kit along with Arshdeep Singh, who'll be opening the bowling, these two, and they're going through their warm-ups. And it's an interesting one that you look at the way that Jasprit Bumrah has bowled in this tournament, and nobody has managed to find a way of combating it. And normally with a bowler, particularly one that plays a lot of cricket, you can analyse every element of their action, everything. People find a way, but nobody's managed to do so.
Yeah, because I think there's been so much focus on his bowling action and how tough it is to pick him the way he bowls. Now, like you said, Henry, most of these South African batters who play in the IPL and just a lot of international cricket as well, they've faced Jasprit Bumrah, so they know what's coming at them. But I think this is where his skill level, he's just taken it to such an elite level that he finds ways. The fact that he can bowl that slow one when you least expect it with no change in his action, the fact that he can nail the Yorker when it counts. I said this on air during the India-Australia game. It's tough to talk about Jasprit Bumrah and not say he's in the top 3 greatest cricketers India have ever produced. It's a big list. Kapil Dev, Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, all of them. But that's just how influential he's been. And in a run chase, it's so tough. Like, the bogeyman will come and get you. He always does. But in this World Cup, what's been impressive for India is they've not been overly reliant on him. You know what Bumrah is going to give you as he starts hooping the ball around of 2 steps just beneath where we sat. But it's Axar Patel and Kuldeep Yadav in the middle overs on a pitch which has been slightly tacky for the spinners. Keshav Maharaj bowled really well. So, and I think it's so perfectly poised, Henry. South Africa have the best spin hitters in the middle order. They have Heinrich Klaasen, they have David Miller, and Markram can play the Virat Kohli role. It's going to be quite something. Hopefully South Africa don't lose too many wickets in the power play.
Yeah, I think that is the fear, is how they cope with chasing. And there was a big difference. The South African duo of Markram and Klaasen, who played for Sunrisers Hyderabad in the IPL, were so destructive in the first innings. And it was a different story when chasing. And that's the worry, is can these players turn it on when it comes to the pressure of a scoreboard in a final? I mean, what would this win mean, do you think, in India? Will it in any way make up for the defeat in Ahmedabad 6 months ago?
Not 100%. It'll be something. There'll be some relief, honestly, if India do win the World Cup. Not just for the billion Indians back home, but even for this team, Rohit Sharma in particular. I remember how crestfallen he was after they lost that final in Ahmedabad. It took him a few days to even recover from it. He asked his wife, was that real? Did that really happen? Was that a nightmare? So I think they're still reeling from what happened in Ahmedabad, because it was just the way that it was built up. The Air Force pilots or the planes flying over. It was supposed to be this coronation of this great Indian team, which wasn't to be. Like I said, it'll be pretty late at night if India were to win this World Cup here in Barbados. But yeah, there will be a lot of celebrations. I mean, Indians have taken over Barbados already. They were playing Punjabi music at Oyston's last night, Henry.
I know, you and I went to the famous Oyston's fish market on a Friday night. It is the place to be. And we went down there for some dinner. We had some local fish, some mahi-mahi, some shrimp that you see on the flame grills. There's flames, smoke, the rum punches. Not for us last night ahead of an early start, let me tell you.
Of course not.
But it was a lively old spot. I can safely say it was a very, very busy evening, and there was a lot of India supporters there. And it did feel like it was sort of the coming together of Indian cricket, West Indies cricket as well. A few South African fans in there as well. But it was a lovely atmosphere, and it's felt like a really nice atmosphere today as well, actually. The beach over there is very busy and populated. And so Will Griggs on Fire booms around to the ground. It's amazing. You may not know the origins of this piece of music, but it started because it became a sort of YouTube meme about a Northern Ireland striker who played for Wigan Athletics singing along to this song, and it's now become a sort of ubiquitous sports anthem. Anyway, I digress. The team huddling on the boundary edge, India, knowing, and I'm sure the conversation is, we're 20 overs away from doing something we've not done in over a decade. The umpires are coming to the middle, and we're almost ready for a run chase that you feel for South Africa has to start quickly. Their required rate is going to be just under 9 and over. They can't let it get to 10 early doors.
They can't, and they need to be at a position where they can give themselves a few balls off Kuldeep Yadav to just see him off and then maybe go after him. They can't lose wickets, but you know what? I'm sticking my neck out. I think South Africa are getting it done, Henry.
Bharat, really? Do you genuinely back them here?
I do. they've never played in a final before. I heard you talk about a mountain that they've never climbed before, but they've never got a chance to
They've
climb
never
that
even
mountain.
reached base camp, have they?
And in many ways, the pressure's really on this Indian team now. You know, just because, like you said, they haven't won in a long time, but also what Indian cricket represents. And I keep going back to that fear of failure. It's very different when you talk about fear of failure in the context of Indian cricket. South Africa have nothing to lose.
I can see Dinesh Karthik a couple of commentary boxes down, waving in our general direction, Bharat. And he's waving at you. He's waving at you, not me. There we go. There you go. Story of my
both of us.
Story of my life, Bharat. Thank you so much, Bharat Sundaresan. Lovely to have you part of our team across this World Cup. We have brought you every ball of every single game. You have not missed a thing with us here on 5 Sports Extra, BBC Sounds, and across the ABC as well in Australia, and the ICC app around the world. It has been so much fun bringing this tournament to you. We have one final act. Will it be South Africa to chase down 177? Will it be India to defend it? In an hour and a half, we will know which way this game is going. It'll be reaching its conclusion. And to take us through the early stages, after some more thoughts from Stephen Finn, it will be Jeff Lemon.
Yep. Curious innings by Virat Kohli there. Just a bit of a go slow through the middle, but this looks like a good surface. The start is going to be fascinating. Arshdeep Singh, left arm swing. Reza Hendricks not really got into this tournament at all. A lot of the early impetus has been provided by Quinton de Kock, who India will see as the prized wicket here in this top order. If de Kock gets a flyer, makes those middle overs more manageable. This is a good surface. The likes of Klaasen, Miller will be able to punish India towards the end, but they don't want to leave them too much to do, so this opening partnership crucial.
It's about to get underway with Hendricks on strike. Coming up to bowl to him, Arshdeep, and he's getting a forward defensive shot from Hendricks out to point. There's no run. Reza Hendricks tournament so far: 4 against Sri Lanka, 3 against Netherlands, duck against Bangladesh, 43 against Nepal, 11 against USA, 19 against England, another duck against West Indies, and a big 29 not out against Afghanistan, chasing 50. It's not what you would call a convincing performance. A little surprising that they've even got him taking first ball. I would have thought you'd want Quinton de Kock facing as many as possible. There's so much riding on him.
Let him have a look at a few, I think, from the other end first.
Arshdeep up to Hendricks, who dabs and almost nicks it. And Arshdeep thinks he has. One arm raised in the air in half celebration, half question. But the answer is no, there was no edge. Still no score either.
De Kock's had his problems against the ball swinging away from him as well. He can nick them outside off stump, so even if Hendricks can take just a little bit of shine off this ball here from Arshdeep, it means it's less threatening when de Kock comes to facing it.
Hendricks, the cannon fodder, is he? Just going in first.
Well, I might be slightly more respectful towards him than that.
Arshdeep runs up the left armour and he's bowling in on the hip, too straight, and Hendricks is able to nudge it into the leg side. Rolls slowly down towards fine leg, where Bumrah comes up to meet it. It's the first score of the innings. It's a leg by off the thigh pad, and 1 for none. And now Quinton de Kock will face the left armour. Does 3 balls take much shine off it?
No. No, I anticipate this ball swinging. There's a slip in place. Suryakumar Yadav stood there ready to snaffle anything that comes his way. This is the prize wicket. If you're bowling here, you're doing everything you can to try and take this early wicket of de Kock, because it's that calmness that just even a cameo from him brings to the rest of their dressing room, especially in a big final like this. The highest ever score in a T20 World Cup final in the first innings.
De Kock finally ready after prodding the pitch, digs out a full ball to short mid-wicket, no run. This pitch is an interesting one, looking at it close up this morning. It's so consistent. It's just a brown sort of block. It looks like it's been poured out as a liquid and is set. It looks like that sort of MDF fiberboard that you get in a hardware store, that sort of cheap fiberboard.
A fair bit of that in England. But it's looked good. The pace has looked even all the way through. If someone's wanted to hit a 6, it's not as though it's been skewing off the inside half of the bat. It's been crisp striking.
Arshdeep up to de Kock, who gets a run, leaning back, playing a late cut out to deep backward point, where Kohli's doing the fielding, 2 for none.
Yeah, we saw a hint of spin for Shamsi, but not exorbitant amounts, which will give South Africa heart as well. But certainly the way that Virat Kohli towards the end there was able to stand and whack that ball onto the top of Garfield Sova's pavilion suggests to me that this surface wasn't getting any slower as the innings went on either. So that powerful middle order of South Africa, particularly Klaasen, will like batting on this.
Deep up to Hendricks, who plays with gusto for the first time. Unfurls through the ball and drives it through backward point for 4. That will be encouraging for Reza Hendricks. He gets his runs account open. 6 for none after the first over. South Africa need 177 to win, so they've got 171 to go. Encouraging for Hendricks to be able to hit fluently through a wider ball.
Yeah, crisp timing. This is a good surface. I've said it many times now today, but the games that we've seen here so far, it's been okay to bat on for the first 5-6 overs of the first innings, then it's got progressively slower, progressively harder to time the ball. Seen some really tight games here at this ground, just by dint of the fact that it's been almost impossible to hit boundaries, but I don't envisage that being the case here. And that delivery to Hendricks, that he's able to just time through the covers very crisply for 4, suggests that that's the case.
Well, the trump card is being played now. It will be Jasprit Bumrah to bowl against Quinton de Kock.
Yeah, he doesn't really care about the surface, Bumrah, I don't think.
The 2 most important players for either team. The 2 keys to this chase. Bumrah off his short run to the left armour, and it's almost gone through him. Very nearly takes the edge, very nearly takes the off stump. As de Kock was just pushing at that ball, was not sure of the line of it at all. It comes flying out of the hand, it zings off the seam, off the surface and away from the left-hander, and that came through fast, fizzing and flat, nearly flattened his stumps.
Yeah, beautiful delivery by Bumrah. The in-swing and away nipper.
Remarkable ability to produce those magical deliveries. Bumrah down the leg side, just slips a bit. Has he been put down by the keeper? Was there a touch on that? Quinton de Kock played off it. Was that off the pad? Was there an inside edge? It's given as a leg by. So Rishabh Pant didn't glove it cleanly, but at least it wasn't a drop according to the umpire. The 7 for none with the extra.
Yeah, so it's definitely, well, clearly it's touched something. Rishabh Pant, as he caught it with 2 hands, held it like it was a scoop of ice cream atop an ice cream cone, and then his elbows hit the floor and it bounced out the top portion of his gloves. I think that may have been just a flick of the pad on the way past. It sounded a bit woody. It must have just been the tiniest flick of the hard leather corner of the pad.
Bumrah, ball to the right-handed Hendricks now. And he's in, he's bowled in! Bumrah strikes in the final! And what else would you expect? He has been relentless throughout this tournament. He's knocked over plenty, and he's given away nothing along the way. And Jasprit Bumrah, from 3 deliveries for the cost of 1 leg by, has his first wicket of the T20 World Cup final. And that was another delivery that did plenty. It was scrambled seam a little, it wobbled, it angled in, and then it decked away sharply, and it takes the top of off stump as Hendricks pushes down the line of middle. He had absolutely no idea about that delivery, Reza Hendricks. He's bowled for 4, and Bumrah's in the book.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful delivery from Bumrah. He just manages to find things that other bowlers don't on surfaces like this. It's a sort of delivery that we anticipate seeing James Anderson bowl in around 10 days' time, when he makes his final test appearance at Lord's, angled in towards off stump. Reza Hendricks plays as if it's going to end on middle and off, but it just evades the outside edge of his bat and just cannons into the top of off stump. The stumps light up. The whole of India lit up with that one. That was an absolute ripper.
What a piece of fast bowling. People might think that we talk this guy up too much, but I don't think you can.
Look, you can't look at the numbers. He averages 13.5 in tests in India. He's been going at 4 and over throughout an entire T20 World Cup. It's unfathomable, really.
8 runs per wicket through this T20 World Cup as well, I think it was. Ridiculous, ridiculous numbers in a batting-dominated game. So they're still trying to repair the stumps from where they got smashed apart. Aiden Markram, the South African captain, is in the middle. This was such a key pairing for South Africa, de Kock and Markram. If they can bat through 12, 13 overs and let Klaasen and Miller come in and do their work, that's their chance. Bumrah, though, to deal with, and he's up and bowling and carved away by Markram, out through backward point. He'll pick up 4. So they did have a deep third back who looked like he had it comfortably covered initially. That ball was well enough timed that it beats the chase of Arshdeep Singh around the rope. 11 for 1. Markram's up and running. South Africa need 177.
It's nice timing by Markram, but he's used the pace of Bumrah there. Bumrah not opting for slower balls or anything so far. Just waits for it, times it out through backward point. Beautiful shot for 4.
Bumrah bails out of the delivery to Markram. Markram seemed to be ready. Not sure what Bumrah's issue was, but he slowed up in his approach. Now there's a bit of a confab going on between the keeper and first slip. Everything's settled between Punt and Suryakumar Yadav. Bumrah will bowl to Markram. It's on a length outside the off stump and swerving away. For some reason, slip was appealing, even though the bat was nowhere near the ball. But that jagged off the surface as well. 11 for 1 still to score.
Yeah, India excitable here in the field. You can see all the fielders are in off the 30-yard circle, trying to create pressure on the South African batters, knowing the importance of these early wickets.
Bumrah into Markram. It's straight and it's met with a straight bat. So the over comes to an end, the second of the innings, the first of Bumrah's day. And he has conceded his traditional 4 runs per over, and he's picked up a wicket along the way. There was a leg by in there too that doesn't go against the bowler's analysis. South Africa 11 for 1, needing a further 166 runs to win.
Yeah, Arshdeep Singh gets another go at the other end as well. Left arm swing bowler, Quinton de Kock. There's a couple of troubles against left arm swingers over the years in India, and Rohit Sharma, the captain, opting for his wicket-taking bowlers here right at the top. Arshdeep, the leading wicket-taker for India in this World Cup.
Quinton de Kock waiting for him and driving the ball back past the non-striker, who does a balletic turn to get out of the way. They'll get a single as mid-on comes across. That was a Orishnikov spin from Markram to the pirouette. They're 12 for 1. Markram taking his guard to receive the bowling from the Joel Garner end for the first time. Got the Worrell, Weeks and Walcott stand down that end of the ground. End named for Joel Garner. Garfield Sobers on the pavilion that Virat Kohli landed one on the roof of. Arshdeep up to Markram, who's opening the face to a full wide ball and trying to squeeze it behind point, but Suryakumar Yadav is in the way. There was something fitting in the symbolism of Kohli launching one onto Garfield Sobers' house. Meeting of champions across eras.
Yes, and it was a humongous hit as well. Landed up on the aircon. I think it must be the aircon units on top of the building. Rattled around in those, popped off down towards the nets.
They've smashed several solar panels. All of the roofs of these pavilions are covered in solar panels. You can see a few of the dings from some of the sixes. Arshdeep up to Markram, who's caught behind. Another one goes, and the South African captain stands at the crease for a minute, disconsolate, tilts his head up towards the sky, then swishes his bat like the tail of an angry cat. But he has to walk. 12 for 2. India on top early. Arshdeep Singh picks up his first. 1 for Bumrah, 1 for Arshdeep. The number 3 is gone. Quinton de Kock still there, watching from the non-striker's end on 2 off 5 balls. Markram's gone for 4. It was a thick edge as he drove at the ball, and Rishabh Pant sprawled to his right and managed not to let that one jar out as his arms hit the ground. Big one.
Yeah, he's reluctant to walk off there. Aidan Markram, the captain, he saw width from Arshdeep Singh. It wasn't a big arcing in swing up like we saw the delivery before. It was angled across, and that angle across has led to Markram just playing away from his body, as you have to do in the power play. If you see that width, you commit to hitting it. This is a good surface. So you could trust the surface, but it's that angle from the left arm going all the way across Markram that has left him just reaching for it slightly, and it catches the bottom corner of the bat, and Rishabh Pant diving forward as well as across manages to intercept that before it bounces on the ground, and India have their second, and it's another big wicket.
Tristan Stubbs out to the middle. I was out there having a look at the pitch earlier, and he wandered up to stand next to me and do his batting visualisation. Often you see players practicing a forward defensive or a cover drive out there behind the pitch. Tristan Stubbs was practicing clearing the front leg and having a big mow over mid-wicket. Then he practiced a few reverse sweeps, back over mid-wicket again. Well, he's out in the middle for real now, and he's reaching for a wide ball and driving it out through point. Should get a couple. They've got a call for the second. Second would have been on there, but they're a bit gun-shy, the South Africans, so they settle for one. 13 for 2. Stubbs with that single, de Kock with 2 runs to his name. So they're in all sorts of trouble before Quinton de Kock's even got himself into the game. I thought so much of this chase relied on de Kock having a good start. Now he's got that extra pressure of knowing the wickets have gone down.
Yep, similar to Kohli, isn't it? Kohli had those wickets falling at the other end, albeit they had more runs on the board at that stage than South Africa do right now.
Arshdeep up to the left-hander de Kock, who tries to pull a ball down the leg side. They're appealing. Rishabh Pant's up. Suryakumar's up at slip. Umpire says no. Indian players converging. Rohit's asking the bowler. He still hasn't signalled. He does now. He taps his fingers to his forearm to make the half-hearted T sign.
Player review for caught behind.
Have a look.
Original decision is not out.
The third umpire's
Following
replay.
speech text, fair delivery. That's spin vision, please.
De Kock was just grinning towards Rohit Sharma there as he was contemplating whether to send that upstairs. I feel as though there's not much on it. He's shaking his head towards the Indian team as well. So
Arshdeep dug it into the pitch. De Kock chased it on the first
yeah,
replay. It
very
looks like a
close to
gap.
the gloves there.
But Snicko often finds a little whisper where the human eye thinks that there couldn't be one. Was there a touch of glove? Just could have been the slightest
We're going to need
brush
ultra edge when available, thank you.
on the top of the glove.
Keep that rolling
on the
through.
top hand.
Keep it
but I
rolling
don't
through,
think there
please,
is.
frame by frame. Keep it rolling through. We've got a
He's
flat
safe.
line.
Safe on the
Thank
sound
you.
wave.
Going to go back to Richard
Shows
on
no
field.
disturbance.
Thank you. Richard, you can stay with your original decision of not out. Stand by. You're on screen. Signal now.
So the umpire's decision is upheld. Well officiated. Arshdeep doesn't get a second, but it won't help the feeling for Quinton de Kock that he's under siege out there. 13 for 2 the score. 1 ball to come in the third over. Arshdeep Singh bustling up. Bowls to de Kock, who comes forward and drives it through the non-striker's legs. There's a trick shot. As Stubbs does a little Michael Jackson dance move. Get out of the way. And after 3 overs, South Africa, they need to be cruising along at, what, about 9.5 and over at the moment. They're going along at 4.5. They're 14 for 2 after 3 overs. They're in strife. De Kock on 3, Stubbs on 1. Hendricks out, Markram out.
they are, and Bumrah's got the ball in his hand again. Rohit Sharma going for the kill here, wanting to get rid of de Kock. He realises that that's such a crucial wicket. If they can get de Kock here, they're not home and hose because there's clearly batting to come, but de Kock really has laid the foundations in the games that South Africa have played well this year.
Slip waiting, short third, backward point, cover, mid-off. As Bumrah bowls across, and it's just bouncing in front of slip. It escapes through the grasp for 4. Suryakumar's away to his left. And that ball wouldn't have carried, but on the bounce, he's not able to get a full touch to it. Just deflects it down to the deep third boundary. So a fortuitous 4 runs for Quinton de Kock. He's gone up to 7. They're 18 for 2.
Yeah, just guides it off the face of the bat. Manages to get the placement sort of between the two fielders. We feel better for that 4 though.
Bumrah bowls to de Kock, who's driving him through the covers. That's a much more convincing stroke. Hasn't timed it perfectly, so it is held up inside the boundary. Kuldeep Yadav swings himself off his feet with the throw. He chases it all the way out to the boundary, grabs it, and then as he's throwing it, spins his whole body around, loses his footing and ends up on the grass. But he's got the ball back in. They've taken 2 runs, 20 for 2.
It wasn't all that elegant, was it, from Kuldeep Yadav? That was treaded water, or trod water, all the way to the ball on the boundary, and then collapsed in a heap as he tried to get it in one movement to try and stop the 3rd run.
Bumrah come around the wicket now. The left-handed Kock, who's tapping the ball off his pads to the backwards square, so he's handled Bumrah well so far. 4-2-1 halfway through the over, 21 for 2. Kuldeep Yadav wearing the 23 on his back. He's wondering if that's, I mean, famously that was Michael Jordan's number, and that's why Shane Warne wore number 23.
Yep.
Wondering if, as a fellow wrist spinner, whether there'd be a Warne connection with choosing that one.
My guess is I think Kuldeep Yadav's a big David Beckham fan.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
Beckham also wore 23.
He met him at the 50 over World Cup.
Yeah, 50 over World Cup. It was the final, wasn't it? I think.
Might have been, yeah. It was gushing.
Yeah.
It was the final or the semi in Mumbai. I can't remember which. Might have been the Mumbai game.
It was the semi in Mumbai, yeah.
Bumrah will bowl to the right-hander, and Stubbs is clipping the ball off his pads straight to short mid-wicket. The Indian captain fields. No run there, 21 for 2.
But then David Beckham's number for Manchester United, which I think Kuldeep Yadav is a fan of Manchester United for his sins. Beckham wore number 7.
Okay.
He only wore 23, I think, later in his career.
Interesting.
At Madrid and then LA Galaxy.
Maybe he was a Michael Jordan fan.
Maybe.
I suppose most people were at one stage. Bumrah bowls wide of the off stump. Stubbs checks a drive, and it's fielded at short cover. Kohli springing to his feet with the ball in hand. Wanting to be in this, wanting to be in everything. 21 for 2. Couple of dots for Bumrah.
He stares down Tristan Stubbs there. It's a nice little push drive, actually, from Stubbs. But, you know, when Kohli's in the mood, he's scored his runs. He's feeling a bit more upbeat about his batting than he has done probably throughout this tournament. Therefore, fielding at extra cover, he can stare down the batter. Bumrah
finish off his 2nd. Up to Stubbs, who flicks it down to fine leg for 1. And so ends a rare unsuccessful over for Jasprit Bumrah. A flabbergasting 8 runs taken from it, and he didn't pick up a wicket. The score is a Richie Benaud, 22 for 2 after 4 overs.
Yeah, looks a bit frustrated there, Bumrah. He's not used to someone hitting him for a boundary.
Or if they do, he gets a wicket in the over.
Yes,
you know.
yeah, he's just a remarkable bowler. His ability to read situations, his ability to execute exactly what he wants to as well under pressure is second to none. He'd be my highest paid player. I'm sure the batters get paid more than him in the IPL, but he would be my #1 top draft auction pick. Pay him 90% of your salary cap and we'll make up the rest as we go along.
The bowlers have tended to get the big money in recent years.
Overseas bowlers,
yeah. Oh, but not local.
Yeah.
Well, Bumrah does deserve it. We've got a bit of Axar Patel, and coming across the crease and trying a sweep shot is Stubbs, but he's not connecting. Hardik at square leg fields. So a word for everybody on the internet who was sacking Kohli and Shivam Dubey before this final. They made 103 of India's runs between them, so hope you're enjoying the game. Here's Axar, and he's cutting hard into the ground, and successfully Stubbs. He beats backward point. There's a fielder so close to that, diving across, but he hit it so powerfully that it went flying past for 4. So Stubbs gets a boundary away. He's up to 6 to Cox on 10. They're 26 for 2.
Yeah, very quick from Axar Patel, 95 kilometres an hour. Stubbs just using that pace.
Axar to Stubbs. It goes back and cuts well in front of point this time, straight at cover. Rowett is stationed, so no run there. Switching the fielding around now. Jadeja's coming into that backward point position. Axar. Stubbs comes down the pitch, drives down to long off for a single. They've got protection back there, 27 for 2.
And that required rate is just creeping and creeping. It's at 9.78 now. Not alarming. Wasn't a humongous score in the first innings, but it is enough if you have 3 or 4 quiet overs that then the batting team, especially under the pressure, will start to feel that.
10 and over feels very tough on this pitch. It's not quite a belter. Axar, he backs away, does to Kock, and he smacks it out through the covers for 4. Well, that was well timed. They've got most of the fielders up on the offside, and he picks a gap between the cover point and extra cover. 31 for 2 as de Kock goes to 14. Axar in and spearing it through and opening the face, timing it well, but stopped at backward point by Hardik. Half stopped anyway, sprawling and knocking the ball away to Bumrah at short third. Keeps them to a single. So 5 overs gone. They haven't gone well for South Africa. They're only going at about a run a ball. 32 runs off 30 deliveries, legal deliveries, and they've lost 2 wickets along the way, with Hendricks and Markram dismissed. So Quinton de Kock on 15, Stubbs on 7, and they need a further 145 from 90 deliveries. Stephen Finn, your company, and Henry Moran about to be his.
Yep, steady progress by South Africa so far. Losing those 2 wickets derailed the power play somewhat, but on a positive note, they've seen off 12 deliveries from Jasprit Bumrah, who is clearly the most lethal threat at any stage for India. But these next 3 or 4 overs, Kuldeep Yadav coming into the attack, are really going to signify, I think, whether South Africa will get close to this or not.
Big phase of the game. Here comes Kuldeep with the left arm wrist spin. Quinton de Kock deep in the crease will angle the ball towards short fine leg and get a single, a slingy throw from Jasprit Bumrah, who bowled arguably the ball of the tournament. That delivery.
It was a Jaffa, was it? It was a test match delivery. Angled in, seemed perfectly pointing upright towards where a first slip would be, arcs in, and then at the last second just darts and swings past the outside edge of Hendricks, who's left groping towards, trying to hit it towards mid-on actually. His bottom hand comes off the bat and it just cannons into the top of off stump. In a ground where those stump holes would have been watered, say in a test match in England, that stump would have cartwheeled all the way back towards the wicketkeeper too.
Kuldeep bowling to Stubbs, who goes inside out. Oh, he gets a little bit lucky, manages to clear Arshdeep Singh at backward point. They'll turn for a second run. He was looking to try and punch the ball over cover with the field up inside the circle, looking to maximise the use of this final power play over. He only gets 2. Worth pointing out that India at this stage were a wicket further down and only 6 runs ahead. So.
Yeah, we're not in panic stations for South Africa yet at all. I do think this is a very good surface. People are timing the ball really well. It's just the skill of the Indian bowlers.
Kuldeep bowling to Stubbs, who hits that ball crisply down the ground. It's gone like a rocket, but what a good piece of fielding from Suryakumar Yadav below us. They'll turn again for a second. And he thought he got 4 there, did Tristan Stubbs, but it's only 2. 5 from the over so far. Yeah,
we're not seeing the stoppy turn. We're not seeing the exaggerated turn either that we have seen on some surfaces throughout this World Cup. That means Stubbs is able to use his feet, come down the pitch towards the ball, make sure he commits to the shot and strikes it hard.
Kuldeep bowling to Stubbs, who again goes down the ground, this time without the timing, and will get a single. So 6 so far from the over. 38 for 2. The wind is blowing firm. There's a Trinidad and Tobago flag, the red with a black line across it diagonally, high up in the party stand, and that is getting really blown firmly over to our right. That's where any weather that will come, that's where we've got to be looking. Quinton de Kock waiting for Kuldeep, and de Kock will be thinking, that's the side of the ground, I'm going to go big, that's where I'm targeting. Kuldeep to de Kock, and he comes forward and thinks about winding up, and it's defended. Rishabh Pant, who is a very consistent sound behind the stumps, and he's good fun as well. He shares a joke with Quinton de Kock. It might be a World Cup final, but you're not going to change Rishabh Pant's attitude and approach to life.
No, both men laughing there, and interesting. So de Kock's come down, maybe looking to ease that up over long on, who is inside the circle. Mid-on was inside the circle.
In comes Kuldeep, bowls to de Kock, who will get 4. Spanking the ball past Ravindra Jadeja out towards the party stand. There's a pirate flag flying, and the India flags are just leaning over the advertising hoardings. That was a good shot. And an expensive over with 10 from it comes to an end. So they're in touch. It's 42 for 2. The required rate stands at 9.64. And the partnership's now worth 30 from 21. They're just building into this a little bit.
Yeah, much like that partnership between Axar Patel and Virat Kohli. It was around a runner ball to begin with, but as soon as they got used to the pace of the pitch, they realised it's a good one. Axar Patel took more of the risks, and it was curious at the time as to why Kohli wasn't trying to accelerate. Clearly that his approach was somewhat vindicated by the way that he hit a few sixes towards the back end of the innings. But if South Africa were to chase this down, there's one man that everyone would be looking at and saying, why on a good surface did you not try and play more shots through those middle overs and take more of a risk? South Africa, they're more than in touch. I think they're very much in the game here at the moment. Klaasen, Miller, still to come.
Well, Axar Patel is going to bowl from the far end, round the wicket. Left arm spin. Tristan Stubbs is back in the crease, easing the ball out towards deep cover. And what we saw between Axar, who's bowling now, but he and Virat Kohli was a partnership that it was a consolidation. It was never at any point a risk-taking partnership. And they gave them the platform for 12 and over at the back end of the innings. Much harder, of course, when one, you've got Jasprit Bumrah bowling, but also the pressure of a World Cup final to go at that sort of rate at the back end. But at the moment they're in touch. We've got a deep backward point, long off, long on, deep mid-wicket and deep backward square, and it is hit down the ground firmly by Quinton de Kock, straight to that fielder Virat Kohli in front of the India supporters at the far end, and a single will be taken. 44 for 2.
Yeah, the question for South Africa here is, where do they find their boundaries to keep up with this 10 and over? Once the field is back, there are far fewer gaps to be able to pierce. It's a fairly decent size outfield, especially square.
Axar bowls to Stubbs. He goes big into the leg side. There could be one, and it is. It wasn't that far away from the fielder at deep mid-wicket, but it was hit so firmly out towards the Greenwich and Haynes stand. And there's a solitary South Africa flag that is flying there. The target is 177. We're midway through the 7th over, and it is 48 for 2. Stubbs 17 from 13. His second boundary is a good one.
He's had nice intent, Stubbs, as well. He's used his feet. He's not let the bowlers just bowl at him. Axar's under pressure now.
Axar bowling to Stubbs, who's deep in the crease and angling the ball out towards deep cover. 7 from the over so far, 2 balls left of it. 128 needed from 80 balls.
And then it's important in a chase like this, where if you hit your boundary, you're clearly looking to hit a boundary next ball, but as soon as that ball's not there, you rotate the strike, especially with a right-left-hand partnership. Keep the bowlers changing their lines and lengths.
De Kock on strike, paddling the ball towards short fine leg, and Kuldeep will field. He goes straight to him. Not a bad option from De Kock, knowing that fine leg and third are up inside the circle, so anything fine enough is going to go quickly down to that boundary below us. Final ball of the 7th over is swung at and swept at and missed out on by De Kock, so 7 from the over with 2 dots to finish it. 128 needed from 78 deliveries. Stephen Finn, thank you so much for the time being. The multi-Ashes winner to be replaced by a World Cup winner, with Alex Hardik coming to join us and leaping down from the little stage behind us with a thump.
Ta-da!
There you are.
Well, I've got a dress on that's not got much movement in it, so I can't step down, and I like to make an entrance, you know.
Well, I know. How about this then? Both these sides neck and neck, apart from the fact that South Africa actually are a wicket better off at this stage.
So this is an interesting partnership for me, Kuldeep versus Stubbs, because Kuldeep refused to bowl at him when the IPL was going on in Delhi.
Kuldeep bowling to Stubbs, ball with lots of loop and driven down the ground for 4. Why did he refuse? It's 50 up for South Africa, by the way, 53 for 2.
So that he could keep that mystery about him, so he wouldn't bowl at him at practice, wouldn't bowl him in the nets, so that come to the World Cup final, Stubbs hasn't faced him.
Well, he didn't seem to worry too much then, did he?
Well, no, and I think one of the counter arguments to that is, why would you not bowl at him and learn how he plays?
That's a good point. Stubbs easing the ball out towards Surya Kumar Yadav, who runs in from wide long on, sleeves rolled halfway up his arms. 54 for 2.
Because the more you bowl at somebody, you pick up cues on, you get a sense and a feel for when you think they're going to come after you. The trigger movements, the way they lift their bat up, you get that feeling, that sense for things. So I'd be bowling at everybody and anybody.
De Kock gets one onto the toes and will nudge it towards short fine leg. Stubbs calls through for the one immediately. And already 6 from the over, midway through it. 122 needed from 75. This partnership up to 43. I also know when you're enthused by a game, not only do you stand up on commentary, but I'll let you, dear listener, into a little secret. Here comes Kuldeep and bowls to Stubbs. He'll get one into the leg side, out towards deep mid-wicket. 56 for 2. But there's one of those little ends to a microphone, those furry little... The windshield. And when you're into a game in a big way, you start picking it up and delivering each ball with the little windshield. And you pick it up and you sort of massage it and you're sort of bowling each ball as it comes. And you've been doing that all day.
I have.
Here comes Kuldeep Yadav into bowl to Quinton de Kock, who gets a little bit of room to work with, but can only drive into the ground and straight back to the bowler. And as we've seen in this game, really consistently, both innings, that an early boundary is not then followed with a big over. Quite often it's been quite well hauled back in by the bowler. Kuldeep again. Big delivery, it feels like to me, this. He's bowling to de Kock, who swings at it, and he's got 6. Monstrously! Smash onto the roof.
Oh.
There goes a solar panel, and that ball's going to need replacing. That's a massive hit. 62 for 2. The over goes for 13. And South Africa, well, 50 partnership comes up, and he was going with the wind there, Quinton de Kock, and he got all of it.
Yeah, it's a brave shot, isn't it? Across the line, last ball of the over, the sweep shot, slog sweep, gets underneath it, lifts the ball, elevates the ball in the air. I think it's Hardik Pandya on the boundary, just watches it sail over his head. It hits the roof of the building and rolls up and over the other side.
Another of those solar panels gets a bit of treatment. We were speaking about this earlier. Nigel's been in touch on the email. cms@bbc.co.uk regarding solar panels, because we said that they're not quite as effective in Manchester. But actually, there's a common misconception: they need sunlight to work properly. They're better in sunlight, but actually all they need is light to produce energy, and even in Manchester, I believe. So there you go. Thank you, Nigel.
Well, that makes sense, Nige, actually. My mate Nige now. I've got a watch that charges, is a solar panel watch, like a sports one. And if you're out in the sun, you don't need to charge it because it'll charge. And I just leave it on the balcony.
Quite the same as doing the exercise with the sports watch, is it?
No, I don't use it for exercise. I spent about 600 quid on it as well.
Didn't.
I did. I thought it would give me motivation. If anything, I just can't be bothered.
It's like when people join a gym.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go all the time.
I've done that as well. Been twice in 6 months.
In comes Axar Patel to bowl to Tristan Stubbs, giving himself some room, swatting into the leg side. Has it got the distance? It does. It's 6. And a good start to the over for South Africa. Huge stride forward from a big man, and he's got big shoulders and arms to hit that ball away over the leg side as well. 68 for 2, back-to-back 6s across the over. The partnership's 56 from 34, and it's 109 needed from 71. Here comes Axar Patel. How will he respond? Round the wicket, Stubbs moving around in the crease, drilling the ball out to deep cover. Single taken.
The scary thing is he didn't even hit that. It went for 6. It was a top edge, and it still flew over the boundary. He is a strong player, isn't he? Going for that reverse sweep. The ball just bounced him more than he thought it would, but he gets hold of it and he's safe.
69 for 2. Early on in the 9th over. Here comes Axar Patel to bowl to de Kock, who tries the reverse sweep and will run through for a very well taken single, actually, because it dropped into space probably 6 or 7 yards to the right of Rishabh Pant. And Tristan Stubbs said, quick, there's a chance here. 70 for 2.
Is that exactly what he said?
He did.
Quick, there's a chance.
Yeah, in the very sort of gentle English accent, I imagine. Come along then, Quinton. 70 for 2. Here comes Axar Patel bowling to Stubbs. Deep in the crease, will slice the ball towards a diving Jadeja, whose hair is sort of elevated by the bandana into a rather pleasing tuft at the top. So when he leaps forward, it sort of blows in the wind. 70 for 2. 8 from the over so far. And stepping across, and bowled! Stubbs tried to give himself some room, exposed the stumps, exposed the risk, and Axar Patel strikes to break the partnership. He's gone 31 from 21, it's 70 for 3. South Africa need 107 from 67, and this partnership is broken.
Yeah, Tristan Stubbs there, stepping right outside the off stump, hits the ball. Does he hit the ball onto his own stumps, or does he completely miss it? It's well bowled for Axar Patel, who's just keeping the stumps in play. Quinton de Kock not happy at the non-striker's end with his mate, who's just thrown his wicket away. It was Half decent knock from Tristan Stubbs, but it's not good enough for South Africa. Not yet. You can't be giving your wicket away like that. You've got to stick around if you're going to stay in this game. Still 107 runs to win for South Africa to make history and win a World Cup. Quinton de Kock, you could see him roll his eyes from the far side of the ground.
Yeah, he wasn't impressed with that, I don't think. And now this is a big moment, I think. Henrik Klaasen, there's no one better in world cricket against spin. His strike rate is phenomenal, particularly against slow left arm spin. Averages 47 against that particular matchup in T20 cricket, striking at over 160 as well. So if he can get going, there's not going to be a ground big enough in world cricket anywhere, at any time. As England found out in Mumbai on that fateful afternoon in the 50-over World Cup. Joins Quinton de Kock with 107 needed from 67. Final ball of the 9th over. Klaasen struck on the pad. Yes, no is the cry from the batting duo, as a single eventually will be accrued. I think probably that was off the pad. Yeah, one leg by signal. So Klaasen remains on none. But after 6 from the first ball of the over, 1-1-0, wicket 1. A very good return for Axar Patel.
It was indeed. I don't actually think Stubbs got anything on it on the replay. Patel just went fuller, straighter at the stumps. Keep things simple and let the batters make the mistakes. With Klaasen coming to the crease, it makes you think as a captain, because he plays spin so well, because he is so dominant against spin, you don't want to let him settle by bowling spinners, so you almost have to change your bowling plans when somebody like him comes to the crease and bowl somebody that you were holding back for another reason, because you want to be bowling seam at him early on in his innings.
So Hardik Pandya is that option for Rohit Sharma, who immediately turned to his all-rounder and said, we want you into the attack, please. And so that is what we're going to see. Field is a slightly unusual one here, actually. We've got a deep third, fine leg, deep square leg, long on. A deep backward square, actually, up there in the distance. Klaasen is cramped for room. Good bowling from Hardik Pandya, not giving any space to work with. And it's a dot ball, so suddenly the required rate is pushing 10 and over again. Klaasen, none from 2, 71 for 3.
Now, I quite like this field because there's an extra cover and a mid-wicket in stopping the one as well, so they are going to try and put a little bit of pressure on Klaasen, but as well as having those boundary riders. With deep mid-wicket open, you're saying, go on then, hit me that way, hit me across the line.
Into the wind as well. That's the other factor that is a big part of the batter's mind today. 71 for 3, Hardik Pandya to bowl to Henrik Klaasen. Nudging the ball aerially just briefly towards Jadeja at mid-wicket. Klaasen still yet to get off the mark. I don't think he's the sort of guy that'll be overly stressed. We went to a breakfast spot in St Lucia and he was dining at the same place. I can reveal what Henrik Klaasen has for breakfast.
Oh yeah, what does he have for breakfast?
Wait for this next. Actually, I'm not going to wait for the next delivery in case he's out. Pancakes, loads of them.
Oh,
mountain of them.
Mountain of them. Did you count the how many individual? Did it look like 12?
No, I know his strike rate against left arm spin. I don't know his pancake rate early in the morning. Hardik Pandya running into bowl. 2 dots to start the 10th over. Klaasen gets a wide delivery. It's going to be another dot ball. He's not timing it at all. It's dribbling along the ground towards Jadeja, and the decibels crank up a touch. The game being squeezed by India all of a sudden. The run rate required is over 10.
There's smart captaincy from Rohit Sharma, because it's obviously a bit of a risk having seen from one end when Quinton de Kock's still there, but Klaasen on strike brings Hardik Pandya into the attack, bowls 3 dot balls, and now you feel like this is a big delivery here for South Africa,
who are 1 run ahead of where India were in their innings, for the record. Deep third comes up inside the circle. Extra fielder on the boundary, out at deep mid-wicket. Pandya, wide delivery. Oh, that's a brilliant shot. 6! How's he hit that there? It's gone with the wind, yes, but over cover, cross-batted. And it has gone as flat as the proverbial pancake. And it is a shot powered by pancakes, as we know. 77 for 3, what a shot.
That's
brilliant.
Filthy from Klaasen, isn't it? It wasn't a great delivery from Hardik Pandya. We said that was going to be a big ball. It was short, wide, and he clatters it over the boundary for 6.
It's inexplicably powerful. Here comes Pandya, 77 for 3. This is nudged down the ground. Suddenly everything looks a lot more comfortable for Hardik Pandya, who, for Heinrich Klaasen, who just trots on through.
I've taken a run.
So 78 for 3 is the score. We can hear Carlos Brathwaite on the boundary edge.
What's he doing down there?
Carlos, we love you dearly.
But get off our feed.
Excuse me. Was that a no ball? It might have been, you know. Okay. Another little twist. So a free hit for Quinton de Kock to get stuck into. 98 needed from 62. Field can change because it is not the same batter on strike. And is it a big no? Not as big as the one Janssen bowled, but it's significant enough. Inch or two. Hardik. 79 for 3. Free hit to be bowled at de Kock. He comes in round the wicket, and de Kock hits the ball a mile up in the air. Now he'll get underneath that. I think the keeper probably. The catch will almost certainly be taken, and it is. Some in the crowd think it's out. Nope. It is just one. It was given everything by de Kock, and rather unusually actually, and I think this is quite clever from Rishabh Pant. He took one glove off because he knew that the only chance of a wicket would be the run out, so actually ended up taking the catch with just the one gauntlet on.
And, he's clever, very clever.
And not too much damage done. So 9 from the over so far. 97 needed from 61 balls before we can all have a drink and have a think. In comes Hardik Pandya to bowl to Klaasen, who gets a delivery onto the hips, worked around the corner, down towards the party stand for a single. So 10 from the over, 81 for 3, South Africa. Barbados flag, the blue and the yellow and the trident is flying out there in the distance, somewhere in amongst what is primarily India supporters out in front of that stage. It's 81 for 3.
We met the lifeguard for the party stand the other day when we were on the beach.
You? Are they a real lifeguard? Oh, because there is a swimming pool.
Yeah, there's a swimming pool there, and he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I've come to watch the cricket or work on the cricket." He said, "I'm the lifeguard at the party stand on the World Cup final." I said, "Are you going to be able to squeeze me in and get me in?" He said, "Nope." And I was asking how many people you could get in the party stand in the pool. They said he reckons you can get 500 in the pool, 4,000 in the party stand. I was like, no way. 500 people in the pool, there'd be no water left in it.
Oh, well, I hope there's more than one lifeguard.
Yeah.
For that many. Anyway, 81 for 3, halfway stage of the run chase. 96 needed from 60 balls. Other thing to bear in mind is we now have a game. We're not coming back tomorrow. We know that much. Interestingly poised. Partnership is 11 off 8. De Kock's there on 30. Klaasen's 8 from 7. And South Africa need 96 from 60 balls to win their first World Cup. Alex Hartley, some more from you, and then Jeff now.
Well, it would be interesting to keep an eye on Duckworth Lewis Stern and what that is, because we never know. It has got a little bit darker over to our left. I don't know where the weather's coming from. Hopefully it's not there. Hopefully it's not the sea that we can see out there, but it's been very stormy in the evenings here. Yesterday, it was raining so hard, it rained into my hotel room, and I couldn't believe it.
You're not even on the top floor.
But this game, interesting here. Very, very interesting.
I'd be interested to see who's on top of the Duckworth Lewis if it were to rain at the moment. It's not about to, but it could happen. 81 for 3 at the halfway mark. And what would it be? At 3 wickets down, South Africa would need to be 82. Well, they'd need to be 83, actually, because you've got to be one ahead of the calculation rate. So they're almost there if it were to rain. Interesting. They need 96 from 60 balls, which is doable if someone's up and running.
It's always a good guide as well, looking at DLS, to know if that you're ahead of the rate or behind the rate. So it's always good to keep your eye on that.
Tell you what I wouldn't be doing is getting in a swimming pool that size with 500 people.
That wouldn't get in anyway.
That would not be swimming, that'd be human stew. It'd just be all dead skin cells and gunk.
Yeah, there is a little get-together afterwards down there, and I will not be getting in the pool.
No, there needs to be a large amount of water per person. The ocean, fine, we can get in there. 81 for 3, we're just waiting to be told to resume. Another interesting thing at that drinks break, David Miller came out for a chat with the two batters. When have you ever seen the next batter
Yeah, it happens
out?
all the time in the IPL.
Does
They
it?
do it all the time, because you can then talk about how the pitch is playing and
Right.
who's easier to face. I think every team should do
Smart,
it.
yeah.
Makes so much more sense.
Haven't seen it in international cricket before. Jadeja is taking up the attack after the drinks break, and Klaasen is bouncing away to leg like a battery-powered rabbit, and playing the ball out through the offside, only for 1.
Speak of the devil, we've just seen Carlos Brathwaite downstairs on the boundary, and he is moist.
He's in the box. He is. He's come up, what, 5 flights of stairs at full tilt. It's 82 for 3. The white shirt's a bit see-through at the moment.
It's like he's been to a wet T-shirt competition.
Has he been in the pool?
He got in that swimming pool.
There wouldn't be room for 500 if Carlos were in there. There might be room for 450. 82 for 3 as Jadeja comes in and bowls to de Kock, who's pulling out to the deep. Oh, it looked like it was going to carry for a second, but it bounces in front of Axar Patel out there. 83 for 3. De Kock living a little dangerously. Got caught off a no ball a while ago. 31 off 24 balls he has. Klaasen 9 off 8.
Yeah, you do feel like Axar Patel's just pulled out of that, don't you? Slightly early.
Might have gone for it. Jadeja to Klaasen, who hits him down the ground for 6. That's classic Heinrich Klaasen. It goes over the sight screen. And that's the shot that he loves to play against spin. Just get that front leg out of the way and play the booming straight drive. Booming back at you if you're the bowler. He is not a complicated player when he's really up and flowing. 89 for 3 as Klaasen goes to 15.
Well, it's a brave move bowling spin at him, isn't it? I think Rohit Sharma was perfect in the previous over bowling seam, bringing Hardik Pandya into the attack. I mean, you can't just not bowl spin at somebody because they play it so well, but you've got to be able to have your plans. Are you going back of a length? Are you going Yorkers? Don't give him that step and hit.
Jadeja to Klaasen, who doesn't get step and hit, but he does get a cut shot to deep point for 1. 90 for 3. I wonder even if you might consider, given his importance, given Klaasen's the player who is most likely to win the game for South Africa from here, whether you'd go to an earlier over from Bumrah. They do sometimes use an over from him in the middle, but it's usually more like the 16th. They'll come back to him for the 19th. Jadeja in and bowling to de Kock, who taps her under the leg side, wants a second. They will come for it. Klaasen honours the call, and it was a well-weighted shot from Quinton de Kock. It was like a lawn bowl, sort of roll it across the grass with just enough weight to, the bowler had to chase it, and the deep mid-wicket fielder had too far to come in at 92 for 3.
It's a great game, lawn bowls.
Rob Perella.
Love playing it in Australia.
Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Shout out if you're listening. Robbie P goes back, Quinton de Kock, and cuts it to backward point. There's a fumble there. They'll get through for a run. 93 for 3. The stones on Rob Perella with that drive in the gold medal match to smash the bowls out of the area and put the onus back on, what was it, McMahon, the young Hong Kong bowls representative. It's brilliant lawn bowls. Knew his way around the green, did Rob Perella. 93 for 3 after 11 overs.
Well, that over was a good one for South Africa, wasn't it? One that they needed, sorry. They've now probably gone ahead of Duckworth Lewis Stern, and they're ahead of where India were.
84 from 54. Doable if this pair stay out there. Wickets required for India, and Kuldeep Yadav's been a source of that, but they played him really well, aggressively. Stubbs took him on. We're going to see Kuldeep in to bowl his 3rd over. He bowls it very short, wide and slow, and it's cut by Quinton de Kock out to deep point. He couldn't help himself from playing that shot, even though if he'd left it alone, it would have been a wide.
He's done well to hit it. It was that wide. It was way outside that blue line that's the guide for the umpires.
Yeah, he was sort of squatting down and reaching for it like he was trying to pull the car along with a cable or something. 94 for 3. De Kock. 35 at the non-strikers. Klaasen goes back and cuts, but straight to cover. Rohit fields on the bounce, no run.
So he's one of the best players of spin in the world, this Klaasen. And we know that. We know that he hits the ball a long way. And the ICC have like a skill set graphic. And they've only given him 95 out of 100. What's the man got to do?
Come on. 95 out of 100. It's like those sports video games where they give you, like what percentage on speed and agility and skill. Kuldeep bowls it short outside off. It's smacked for 6. Over cover with a cut shot. What on earth? How is that possible? That was slow. It sat up. But Klaasen had the timing and the power to absolutely dismiss that. That went miles over the fence and into the crowd. And is a remarkable shot to bring up South Africa's 100. They're 100 for 3. Kuldeep. Bowl again quickly. They found the ball. He bowls outside leg stump. Slog sweep to deep backward square where it's fielded. They won't get the second. Klaasen wanted it. De Kock didn't. 101 for 3. Klaasen's up to 23.
I mean, we thought his shot earlier on was the best of the day, but that one was by far and away the best of the day. It was wide, it was there to be hit, the ball going right across him, but the fact that he's managed to hit it halfway up the stand.
The one off Hardik had some class to it. That was just brute, but the timing was perfect. Kuldeep floats it up to the Kock, who's getting a bit tangled as he comes on the front foot. The ball angling in at his pad, and he gets the bat and the pad close together and squeezes it out to cover, takes a step down and then runs back into his crease. Kuldeep, he's gone for 8 from the over, looking for something. The Kock cuts and misses. The ball scoots through, and Rishabh is able to tidy it up. So 12 overs gone, 101 for 3. Quinton de Kock 35, Heinrich Klaasen 23. South Africa needs 76 from 48. This is in the doable range from here.
It is. It was good over that from Kuldeep. Yes, it went for 8, but actually there was 3 dot balls in that previous over as well, and just a couple of singles. There was that massive 6 from Klaasen that's made it, you know, more of an expensive over. But the way that he mixed his lines, his lengths, he was a bit unpredictable. Consistently inconsistent, which is something we talk about a lot in cricket, especially as a spin bowler. Be proactive, not reactive.
8 overs to go. They're going back to Arshdeep Singh. He's only bowled 2, 1 for 8 early.
I think this is a big over.
This could be one to target for Klaasen. A dip at the knees for the burly right-hander. He gets a ball in at his hip, well bowled by Arshdeep. All that he can do is clip it away with a restrained pull shot to deep square leg, where the fielder is back. 102 for 3, Klaasen 24.
Yeah, you do feel like when you look at the bowling attack and their lineup, you do feel like Arshdeep is the one that you can target. Although early on he can swing the ball both ways, which is why he was effective today.
Need to get his lengths spot on here. They've got a long off back for Quinton de Kock with a deep point. They've got a deep backward square leg, deep mid-wicket, and a long on. Left armour to left-hander. Arshdeep Singh to de Kock, who pulls him over fine leg. It just bounces in front of the rope. So they had a deep backward square. They didn't have anyone finer. Short fine up inside the circle. So de Kock was happy to go aerial in that direction. Would have been a simple catch for someone standing on the rope at fine leg, but if there had been someone there, he probably wouldn't have played that shot. He gets 4, 106 for 3, de Kock to 39.
Yeah, it's clever from Quinton de Kock, who goes up and over fine leg, a bit like Suryakumar Yadav does time and time again. Very effective, flicking the ball over that way, and it brings a change in field, which is exactly what he would have wanted. That fine leg fielder goes out, mid-off comes up, so now that extra cover all the way through to mid-off is open to go over the top.
Arshdeep can't bowl full here. He goes back to Kock, plays the same shot again, and he's caught it fine leg. That is a brain fade of the highest order. We just talked about how that field would be the means of his dismissal, and he's played exactly the same stroke despite them changing the field. I cannot understand that. He wasn't trying to hit that squarer. There was no intention. Maybe it was just reflex, but there was no intention to play anything different than the same shot that he'd played, whipping it as fine as possible, and Kuldeep Yadav had been moved down there for exactly that shot. Quinton de Kock is out for 39 off 31, and suddenly this task for South Africa has gone from manageable to much more difficult. They need 71 from 45. They're 106 for 4. Arshdeep Singh has 2 for 13, and the move to bring him back has paid enormous dividends. David Miller walking to the middle as he did in the drinks break, but this time he'll stick around and have a chance to bat.
I mean, de Kock there just tried to go for the same shot, wasn't he? Up and over fine leg. It's come off higher off the bat, so it's not come out the middle of the bat. It's come off the splice as he's hit it straight to deep fine leg, and as you say, a little bit of a brain fade from him there. Whether or not he was trying to go squarer, I'm not sure, but it just gives India another opening here.
It was just such a strange decision, because it's not as though the previous one was so well timed that it carried for 6. You can understand it maybe if he thought that he could carry that fielder, but the previous one landed inside the rope, and that one fell quite a bit short, several metres inside. Kuldeep had to come in a bit to make up ground.
It's well bowled as well, bowling the same delivery, going, go on then, do it again.
Do it again? Yeah. Nice shot. Let's see if you can do it again. Wonder what that does to the Duckworth, Lewis. It's getting a bit more cloudy out there. 106 for 4 as Arshdeep comes up to another left-hander in Miller, and he's cutting the ball back in off a length into the thigh pad. That's that box height that Stephen Finn was talking about earlier, and that's well bowled for a dot ball.
13 overs, 107 if you fall down.
Okay. So they're right on it.
Yeah,
they're too short, as they were before. Two runs short. You'd need to be one above that Duckworth-Lewis calculation, as Sean Pollock famously found out in 2003. Arshdeep. Up to Miller, who's flicking the ball down to fine leg. Kuldeep Yadav is still there where he took the catch a couple of deliveries ago. 1 run, Miller. Starts his run-scoring day. Klaasen now the key. 24 off 14 for him. 1 ball left in this Arshdeep Singh over. And it's 70 from 43. Required rate pushing up towards 10 now. Klaasen look to push that down, attack this last delivery, take something back from this over for South Africa, or does he ride it off and look to the next one? Arshdeep Singh, that angled, bustling run for the left armour, and it's just chopped into the ground by Klaasen. It's not stopped at cover. Rowett would have fancied himself to stop that, but doesn't quite. It is fielded at deep cover. They'll get 2 runs. So 8 from the over, plus the wicket. That makes that a win for India. We've had 13 overs bowled, 109 for 4.
Yeah, this partnership's key, isn't it? Between these two, the run rate required is still less than 10 runs and over, but we know India closed out their innings really well, just going at, well, just 12 and over for the last 5 overs, got them up to that 176. We felt like it was going to be a little bit too many, but this partnership here for South Africa, if it's not going to be too many, these two are going to be key.
Well, the other thing being that South Africa don't bat as deep as India do. They've got Marco Jansen in next, and yes, he played very well to close out that West Indies chase a few nights ago, but this is a different situation. You can't ask too much of him. Always felt like he's a spot too high at 7. I don't have that luxury that India have with Jadeja and Axar and the ability to shuffle players around. Miller and Klaasen, really the last fully recognised pair, and Kuldeep is bowling to David Miller, who's driving him out to deep mid-wicket. Should take a second, it's into the gap. They will get 2. 2 boundary riders out there. Converge, 111 for 4. Rashad Pant chatting away as usual. Kuldeep, left arm over to the left-hander, who punches the ball behind point, no run.
Yeah, it's Kuldeep's last over this, so if South Africa can get through this, it's a win for them.
1 more from Axar. Jadeja's only bowled the 1, so they could go to him. Hardik Pandya's only bowled the 1. Kuldeep, sweep shot from Miller, gets a decent bit of timing on it, but Arshdeep Singh back at the backward square leg, 1 run. 12 for 4, Miller's up to 4. Bumrah with 2 overs left. Might look to him for the 17th and 19th. It's probably the most likely.
Yeah, big last 3 balls here for both India and South Africa.
They need 10 and over exactly at this point, South Africa. They'll get 1 run from this ball that Klaasen clips out to deep mid-wicket. The question about the second is answered in the negative. Klaasen to 27, South Africa 113 for 4. They need 64 from 38 balls from here. Kuldeep with 2 balls to come. He's got a slip in place now for the left-handed Miller. Rohit Sharma putting himself there, flighted, going back, cutting Miller out to deep cover. Has he got the timing? The race is on. It's gone for 4. It has gone for 4. There was a close chase. The fielder at a deep cover point coming across to a deep extra cover. Like Akshar Patel out there, 117 for 4.
Well, the difference between the two teams is South Africa would have dived and tried to stop that, whereas Axar Patel, yes, he probably wouldn't have stopped it, but he has just guided it to the rope.
Sort of accompanied it and watched it go over. Kuldeep to Miller, who goes back, pulls him over the leg side for 6. Oh, that's big. Those last 2 deliveries from David Miller. South Africa was starting to drift. And he's just got them a bit of purchase. 10 runs from the last 2 deliveries. That makes 14 from the over, where it might have been 4 or 5 or 6. South Africa now need 54 from 36. It's back in the realm of the doable. The required rate has gone from 10 and over to 9 and over in the space of those 2 deliveries. That is a big minute of play. Klaasen has 27, Miller has 14. Alex Hartley has left the building, and Stephen Finn is back again.
Here we go.
This is going to get interesting.
Yep. Well, it's a fascinating game, isn't it? A fascinating game. You hope that that lack of batting depth from South Africa beyond Marco Jansen doesn't hurt them here, but boy, they're playing a great innings here so far.
Yeah, 1 wicket makes all the difference here. So they're walking a tightrope, Miller and Klaasen. Have to keep being aggressive, can't afford to get out. It is the T20 conundrum, but even more pointed at the moment. Axar Patel's bowling, and Klaasen hits him down the ground for 4. That's very Heinrich Klaasen. Steps away to leg as Axar's just looking to spear the ball in at the base of middle stump. Klaasen says, I've got enough time to get out of the way and open up my bat swing and just hit that straight back over your head. 127 for 4. They need 50 from 35. Getting closer. Axar. Bowl again, wider and slower to Klaasen. It's called a wide by the umpire. 49 from 35.
He picks length so quickly, Klaasen. That's why he's so good at playing against spin. The second that ball comes out the hand.
128 for 4, wide again, and wided again by the umpire. So Axar is turning to umpire Illingworth and saying, really? Wide? Well, yes, really. 48 needed off 35. Axar tries again, and this time Klaasen hits it. But doesn't hit it very well. Only ends up in the ground and then in the keeper's gloves. 4 wide dot ball. Only 2 legal deliveries so far in the over. Axar to Klaasen, who slots him over deep mid-wicket. See you later. That is massive. That's nearly smashed the solar panels again. It's just hit the upper tier of the roof just below the solar panels and bounced back into the field of play. Suddenly it feels like South Africa are going to do this. Klaasen he has 37 off 19. He needs 42 from 33. That feels very achievable.
He's just playing with Axar Patel here. Axar trying to go towards the wide line, trying to get it outside the swinging arc. Klaasen takes a step across, outside off stump, hammers it.
Axar to Klaasen, who goes again. That is absolutely huge. That has vanished, and there is another bill for a solar panel for Barbados cricket, because that has landed on the roof of the Hall and Griffith stand, plumb into the middle of one of those photovoltaic cell banks, and it has bounced down into the causeway between the stands. The ball has somehow made its way back into the middle. 18 runs off the over so far, 2 balls to come. Axar Patel saved India with the bat. He's giving up the game with the ball. Klaasen up to 43 from 20. Run rate's almost a run a ball now. They need 36 from 32, Stephen Finn. Everything has changed in the space of a few deliveries. It could yet change again. Axar wide to Klaasen, who drives him up and over cover, and it's 1 bounce for 4. Oh, that nearly carried as well. Just half volleys the rope, and that kept going and going and going against the breeze somehow. It kept sailing, and so nearly carries. 1 ball to come in the over. It's gone for 22. Klaasen 47 off 21. This is an all-time T20 innings in the circumstances, in the pressure. He slices it over backward point, just over Jadeja. Will come back for the second run. And if anyone was going to sprint back and dive and catch that running away from the flight of the ball, it was Ravindra Jadeja, but he can't get there. 147 for 4. 24 runs from the over. Klaasen up to 49 from 22 balls, and South Africa need 30 from 30. If they lose this from here, they will deserve the word that has been applied to them in the past, but they have played fabulously to get back into this position, to see if they can do it, if they can clinch the World Cup title for the first time. Henry Moran is coming in to join Stephen Finn.
Yeah, a tactical misstep maybe here from India is going to be delaying Jasprit Bumrah too late. in this innings. You know that South Africa don't bat beyond number 7. It's bowlers to come after that. This partnership was clearly going to be the key. The spinners have been whacked at 10 and over so far. Klaasen's so adept at playing spin, and he's hammered it today. Get Bumrah back into the attack, break this partnership, win the game. He's left it too late, it feels, Rohit Sharma.
And here comes Jasprit Bumrah into the attack, around the wicket to the left-handed Miller. Bumrah bowls, oh, he gets lucky, chopping it into the turf. Will get one down to fine leg. No, is the cry from Klaasen. 1 run taken, 29 from 29 for South Africa to win a World Cup. A phrase that for decades has been inconceivable, not just because they will have a side capable of it. Had that, they've never had the chance, they've never reached a final. 29 needed from 29. Klaasen is on 49, and here comes Jasprit Bumrah over the wicket, field up inside the circle on the offside. Klaasen nudges the ball in front of square, he'll get one, may turn for a second, they do turn for a second, they'll get that second comfortably. There's a misfield in the deep, and there's a brilliant 50 for Heinrich Klaasen. He raises his bat, looks to the heavens, and David Miller will come and punch gloves. They know this is not job done, but they're getting the job done. 27 needed from 28. It's 150 up for South Africa, 150 for 4. Bumrah down below us into his work once again. Stuttering approach, straight-limbed, elbows everywhere, and he bowls. Oh, big appeal for LBW! No, inside edge.
Two noises there. If that wasn't an inside edge, that was very adjacent. Klaasen, he plants his front foot across to Bumrah, which is exactly why, if I was Rohit Sharma 3 overs ago, I'd have been bringing this bloke back into the attack and trying to take the wicket of Klaasen before he could do any damage against the spinners.
27 from 27 needed. Here comes Bumrah again. Wind blowing. Klaasen on strike. Full delivery, and he just about gets his bat down on it. Bumrah has 8 balls left to bowl. Can he dig India out of a hole? Can he find the breakthrough that breaks the partnership, that breaks the game open, that raises the heart rates across South Africa that little bit more? 27 needed from 26.
Yeah, Rohit, he's backed himself into a corner here, really. Jadeja has 3 overs left, but would you bowl spin to Klaasen in this mood? I feel not. Hardik Pandya has 1. Arshdeep Singh has 1, so he's got overs to find from somewhere.
Big couple of balls here. Bumrah to Klaasen, onto the pads, whipped away, into space on the leg side. They'll get 2. In fact, they'll get 1 because the ball spins kindly out there in the deep as the throw comes in. 1 run is taken, so just 4 from the over so far. 26 needed from 25. Miller, who is a very capable and experienced player. We sometimes joke that there's never a T20 match happening anywhere in the world that doesn't involve David Miller, because he seems to be playing in all of them. But he'll know these situations. He'll know facing Bumrah. Not many have quite as much experience as he. 151 for 4. Final ball of the over to be launched. The projectile from Bumrah around the wicket, driven into the turf. No is the cry, and tumbling like a big baby at a play school. Rohit Sharma onto his backside to stop it. End of the over, 26 needed from 24. And the game moves forward. We head towards its conclusion. We have 4 overs left of a compelling World Cup, Vinny. Goodness me, we've been lucky.
Been very lucky, and I think we've actually been very lucky with this surface today. I was really worried that this would be a really slow, stoppy, stodgy surface, one that wouldn't be befitting a World Cup final, but it has been fantastic. You haven't been able to just lob it up there as a spinner and get rewarded for putting some revs on the ball. You've had to be on it, and if you haven't, you've been punished. And Heinrich Klaasen has punished these Indian spinners, which will be the difference between the two teams. If they do come out on top, the difference of intent between Heinrich Klaasen and Virat Kohli through those middle overs, if South Africa make it over the line. But with the label that they've been labelled with over the last number of years, which I'm reluctant to use that word, this situation, needing 26 from 24, needs calm heads out there, and they've got 2 of the calmest that South Africa have ever produced, and I think it really helps that they've played IPL cricket. They won't be overawed by this situation here. It's purely about watching the ball, scoring the runs, getting their team over the line, nothing else.
26 needed from 24 balls for South Africa to win a World Cup. India needs something. They've turned to Hardik Pandya from the Joel Garner end. Though the DJ continues to shout and to encourage, there is a hush around this ground from those in the crowd. The horns blare still, but there isn't that feverish atmosphere, that sense of carnival that we had for so much of today, because this ground is 95% full of India supporters. Let's see it happening again. And Klaasen, a man who made his T20 international debut against India, who smashed 69 from 30 balls as they chased down a target of almost 190 against India in his second T20 international. That got him onto the radar of those at the IPL. He played brilliantly for the Sunrisers. He loves facing spin, and he's wrought havoc on India today. He's 52 from 26. He's not facing spin here. There's a pause because Rishabh Pant's had some running repairs. And that might just a moment or two for South Africa to catch their breaths and realise where they are, how close that summit is. Hardik Pandya, at the end of his mark. Rishabh Pant shares a little word with Heinrich Klaasen, and we're ready to go. Backward square leg, deep mid-wicket, long on, long off, deep cover. Here comes Pandya to bowl. Oh, he's got an edge and he's gone! Klaasen chases a delivery and up goes the volume. And the game swings, 26 and 23, a loose drive. And maybe it's South Africa will be thinking, oh no, not now we've come so far, not now we're so close. The off-cutter, the edge, the wicket.
It's an excellent piece of bowling by Pandya. I just wonder how that break in play where Rishabh Pant had his knee strapped up has just broken the concentration of Klaasen there. It was slow, dipping and full outside the off stump, almost on the wide line. It wouldn't have been called wide had he left it, so Klaasen would have felt as though he has to play the shot, and his weight goes back and he throws his hands towards the ball out on the wide line, and it's that extra kick from the off cutter of Hardik Pandya that just catches the outside edge of the bat, and Rishabh Pant is standing close enough to pouch it, even though it's slightly slower than he would have anticipated. So it feels like a huge wicket for India. Heinrich Klaasen, though, what a magnificent innings that was in the end, to put his team into a position to win the game. And now the calm, cool, collected character of Marco Jansen, who got South Africa over the line in a nervy game against the West Indies just a few days ago. Can he do the same again here?
All it needs is a calm head. They need 26 and 23. I know it's easier said than done. It's a World Cup final, but South Africa's position is such a strong one. They're 5 down now, and they've lost the player that was causing the havoc, 52 from 27. And Jansen comes to the middle, tall figure, right-handed. In comes Hardik Pandya, driven into the ground, no run, towards mid-off. Again, the noise goes up a bit. India will need their fans to do their bit as well.
Yeah, their body language was poor before that delivery from Hardik Pandya. The Indians, they're moping around on the edge of the circle, probably bemoaning their bad luck. If they have had any bad luck in this game, it would be all their own doing if they were to lose it, but wicket has galvanised them. You can see Virat Kohli's back inside the ring, chest pumped out, staring at Marco Jansen. Jadeja the same at backward point.
Wheeling round at the far end, flying start from Pandya, running in to bowl to Jansen, who drives crisply behind square on the offside for a single. The equation moves forward, 25 from 21. There was a runner ball not long ago, and they need to keep the scoreboard moving. They can't afford an over that goes by with one from it. There's currently 3 balls gone, wicket dot 1. Got to keep things moving, South Africa.
Yep, and now Rohit Sharma has a really massive decision to make here. Does he go to Bumrah again to try and break this partnership and get the bowlers in? Keshav Maharaj in next at number 8. Too much to write home about there in terms of boundary hitting prowess. Yes, he can hold a bat, but it's not a Miller or a Klaasen. Does he try and kill the game in this next over by bowling his premier fast bowler Bumrah?
25 needed from 21. Miller on strike. Hardik Pandya broke that partnership. Can he get the other set batter? The left-handed Miller on strike, waiting, and nudging the ball behind square. Comfortable, clever batting. Kuldeep runs in from the boundary to pick up. 2 from the over so far. 24 needed from 20. How do you approach this if you're South Africa?
Well, I think you just need to keep that scoreboard moving. What they can't afford is 3-4 dot balls in a row. What you have to do is, if the ball's there to hit, you commit to hitting it. If it's not, you hit it into a gap, you rotate the strike. They're not at the stage where they need to thrash around for boundaries. They don't need an over of 10, 12 in order to get ahead of the rate. They are ahead of the rate. They need 7.2 runs per over. It's 5 singles and a 2, an over, and they win the game.
153 for 5. India at this point were 129 for 4. Hardik Pandya to bowl to Marco Jansen in a half of the bat, but a single will be taken down the ground towards long on. 3 from the over so far. 1 ball left of it. There is 1 Jasprit Bumrah over to come. That's the trump card. That's the game, isn't it?
Not necessarily the game, but I do think that India give themselves a far better chance of defending these runs if they break this partnership now. If you're trying to get Bumrah to defend 6 off the last over, it's a bit of pot luck. Even with the great skill of such a fantastic bowler, I would be thinking, if I were captain here, I've only captained domestic T20 games, but I want Bumrah bowling the next over to try and break this partnership.
23 needed from 19 for South Africa. Every eye trained on the creeping approach of Hardik Pandya. He's coming in to bowl to Miller. Final ball of the over. Miller paddles the ball gently. Thought about winding up, but realised into the breeze. 2 fielders out there, not worth it. 4 from the over. They need 22 from 18. We've got 3 overs left of the World Cup. It should be South Africa's from this position.
Is there such thing as should in a World Cup at this stage?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. Funnier things have happened in World Cups. There's a meeting now between all the senior players of India in the middle of the pitch. Bumrah has his cap off and he's given it to the umpire. I like this from Rohit Sharma. I like it. Get Miller out. You give yourselves a much better chance of winning this game. This is the game, this over, in terms of if South Africa make this through unscathed for 6, then I think they're definitely winning. If they lose a wicket, it's 50-50 again.
Okay. 22 needed from 18. Jasprit Bumrah, he's been brilliant this World Cup. I can't remember a bowler having a tournament quite like it, where they've been so far and ahead of others. He's coming into this game, induced a false shot percentage of 62.3. which is far ahead of anyone else, so they tell me. Here comes Bumrah round the wicket to bowl to Miller, who is feeling for a ball outside the off stump, and he looked back at the keeper in a way that suggested there was an edge. There wasn't, but it's a dot. 22 from 70. Bumrah bowling with that seam immaculately up. Oh, he's so close to the off stump.
Just dabbling. It's crazy, the aura of Bumrah. I think South Africa know this is the over. This is India's last throw of the dice, really. Bumrah, 1 ball, big outs, big playing a miss outside the off stump from Miller.
Bumrah tugs at his sleeve and then begins running it again round the wicket to bowl to Miller, who is pushing the ball into the offside. No is the cry again. The crowd are up. 2 dot balls to put the pressure on South Africa, certainly give India more life in this game. The requirement, 22 from 16.
Yep. Even 4 runs off this over. 18 from 2 overs is defendable, but you don't have 1 more from Bumrah. If he takes the wicket, the pendulum swings.
Fine balance. Jasprit Bumrah running in past the umpire, round the wicket. Miller on strike, thrashes at the ball to deep cover. Get 1. 21 from 15. Does Jansen have some freedom here?
No, no, he doesn't.
Do you not think?
No, definitely not. Definitely, he's got 3 balls to get through here. Not necessarily get through. If the ball's there to try and whack it, which is unlikely from Bumrah, you do it, but you make sure your feet are in a good position, you make sure you're solid with your defence, and you try and hit that gap between cover, try and run it down to deep third, knock it off your hip down to fine leg or deep backward square. 3 singles here from these 3 deliveries is a great outcome for South Africa.
They were 151 at the start of the 17th over, midway through the 18th. They're 156. 21 needed from 15 balls. Jansen waits. Oh, it's a beauty. He's bowled. And Jasprit Bumrah is doing everything he can to try and haul India back into this game and over the line. And this incredible bowler, and he really is, he's unbelievable. He's done it again, 156 for 6, 21 needed from 14.
Oh, I'm nervous up here watching this. What a delivery from Bumrah. The seam's angled in towards the leg stump, and Janssen, he presses forward on the front foot, offers the full face of the bat, but the millisecond that there was a gap between that bat and pad, Bumrah manages to snake the ball back through it and disturbs the leg stump. And what a marvellous bowler he is. He's so in control of what he's doing. He possesses such an aura to anyone that's facing him. At any second he can change the momentum of a game. 26 from 24. He's now 21 from 14. He has 2 deliveries remaining. Maharaj is on strike, and David Miller will be desperate to make sure that he probably doesn't face another delivery from Bumrah.
So 2 balls left of Bumrah, who's gone for 1 in this over so far. Now he's got the wicket. Maharaj comes to the middle. He's capable, but as you say, he's not someone that instills fear necessarily.
No, I mean, Bumrah would dispose of most top-order batters in the world, so it's if you're coming in at number 8, probably a spot too high as well for Maharaj. You're just thinking pure survival here. Support Miller. Miller's the one who the runs are going to come from the blade of. Maharaj's job is to survive these 2 deliveries and then make sure Miller faces as many balls as possible in the last 2 overs.
21 needed from 14 for South Africa. That's what India have to defend to lift their first World Cup in over a decade. Bumrah, bearded figure, moving away from us. Maharaj on strike is defending. Leaning forward, and Miller barely left his ground at the other end.
He's defended that like he's safe in a test match. I would be inclined to think as well, if the ball dribbled down to fine leg, Miller wouldn't be running.
21 from 13, Bumrah. I mean, look at these figures. He's bowled 3.5 overs, 2 for 17 again. Arshdeep has bowled well today, by the way. He's still got an over to come. 2 for 16 from 3. Here comes Bumrah. The game was South Africa's. It's no longer South Africa's. 21 from 13 needed. Bumrah to bowl to Maharaj, who's defending. Yes is the cry, and they will run through for the single. So the over comes to an end, 2 from it, 20 needed from 12. You're not convinced by that, Vinny?
No, I like it. South Africa have to take the runs on offer, definitely. At that stage, I think the 5th delivery of the over,
okay, so
Maharaj wouldn't have been dashing through to take that single, but at the end of the over, fine. Maharaj can face the first ball of the next over, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to keep Miller away from Bumrah, but what Bumrah's complaining about there, Kohli was right back on the circle, because clearly India would rather bowl at Maharaj in this situation and heap the pressure onto him. So I think Rohit had pushed Virat to the edge of the circle, but Bumrah didn't realise that had done so, and I think he was thinking about his figures, and he's been rather expensive for what he's been in this tournament. 2 for 18 from 4 today, just over 4s.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous to even speak about it in that manner. Yeah, 2 for 18 has increased his economy rate in the tournament today, which is crazy.
They needed 30 from 30, South Africa. Then it was 26 from 24. It was 21 from 14. Now it is 20 from 12. 2 overs left. 2 overs left of the World Cup. In comes Arshdeep Singh to bowl to Maharaj, who's getting a ball which is punched back towards the bowler, stopped. It's a dot.
India are up and about now. They were forlorn figures about 12 deliveries ago when Rishabh Pant went down on his bum and had the physio come on and tape his knee up. He's still hobbling around now, but that break in play has seemed so significant for the course of the game and the momentum of the game that we are seeing right now, because Klaasen departs the very next delivery to a slower ball from Pandya, and now the Indian fielders, they're like a membrane coming in towards the batter every time, crowding him each delivery. There were 4 of them surrounding him there. Now they're back on the circle, pouncing again, making sure Maharaj is on strike.
Kohli encouraging the crowd to give the whole slow hand clap. The field is changing. We've got Hardik coming up inside the circle from deep third. In comes Arshdeep Singh. Maharaj is waiting, swinging, missing. Dot ball. It's dribbling away from South Africa, this. They need 20 from 10.
Rohit's a beauties. So Arshdeep has brought deep third up into the circle. He's then bowled a short wide one with pace on across Maharaj, who's played and missed, and yes, he's played and missed, but an outside edge there flies away from 4. Immediately Rohit's walking towards Arshdeep, wagging his finger at him, saying, no. If you're going to put long on a long off back, I do not want you to bowl a back of a length outside off stump with the pace on, because an outside edge gifts 4 runs there. So that was brilliant, wagging his finger at him.
Here comes Arshdeep again. 2 dots to start the over. And he runs into Maharaj, who hits the ball whippy into the leg side just for 1 run. So it will get Miller on strike with 19 needed from 9. Famous World Cup final in 2016 in Kolkata. It wasn't quite this significant a challenge with the bat, but it did require some hitting, and now we do need some hitting. It's not going to have to be the sort of 6 demolition we saw from Carlos Brathwaite, but it is going to require something, with the required rate now up to nearly 13 and over. Forget that, 19 from 9.
Yeah, he needs a boundary. These 3 deliveries, he needs probably 2 boundaries, I would say here, Miller, to keep them calm going into that last over. Hardik Pandya will be bowling it. He's not renowned for bowling Yorkers at the death. He'll use changes of pace. But Miller will know these are 3 huge deliveries within the context of this game, and I think Rohit and Arshdeep Singh think that too.
Rohit himself goes out towards the long off boundary. Every delivery, minute changes to the field. Yeah, there'll be important tactical changes, but also they want to ramp up the pressure on Miller here, who himself is coming down the track, gardening, prodding and poking. 19 needed from 9 balls. Arshdeep again, angled approach, over the wicket, left arm to bowl to Miller, who swings at a ball into the leg side. I'm not sure he's got enough of it for 2. They'll turn for a second run and they'll get a second run. 17 from 8. 2 balls left of the over, 3 runs from the over. And Miller was trying to launch into the leg side. I mean, what will be in his favour as the wind is blowing in the direction of his hitting arc in the final over.
Yep, Hardik Pandya bowling it. Arshdeep Singh's 2 deliveries left. It's been a good over so far.
3 from it. 17 needed from 8. Miller on strike, goes hard at the ball. He'll get probably 1 only. It is only the single as Jadeja runs in front of the scoreboard to our right. Some of the crowd can barely look. 16 needed from 7.
I can barely look, and I've got to commentate on it. I'm nervous for South Africa here. This is a free hit for Maharaj. I think if it's an even number, they come back. If it's not, you don't want Maharaj thrashing at 2, as we saw the first 2 deliveries of this over, thrashing around at 2 of them and wasting 2 dot balls. So Miller, for me, has to stay at the far end. It's either 0, 2, 4 or 6 here for me for South Africa.
They needed 26 from 24. The game was in the palm of their hand. South Africa, India are in it, and favourites, I would say, just about. 16 needed from 7. Maharaj waits and swings at the ball into the ground, and is that a catch? It might be. Some of the crowd think so, and you can't really tell from the reaction. I don't think it's a bump ball, surely. I think it is. I don't think he's played it into his toe. But it is 16 from the final over. David Miller, over to you. Hardik Pandya against David Miller for the World Cup. 16 needed from 6.
Yep. Here we go. Miller, I don't think he was sat on his bat handle there as well. There was no way he was running unless it was a 2. It was going to dribble up towards long on that final delivery. It was a brilliant over by Arshdeep Singh. 4 from it. Nailed everything he wanted to do there, apart from the one where his captain gave him a bit of a ticking off for maybe gifting South Africa 4 runs from outside the off stump. But he's been fantastic today, Arshdeep Singh. India's leading wicket taker throughout the tournament. And now this really is the mouth-watering finale that we all wanted.
And they've got 14 of the last 24 deliveries. South Africa, the game was theirs. It was. And yeah, all the accusations about that word that they don't like, choke, from being in positions in semi-finals where they should surely get over the line. Not much will hurt as much as this if they don't win it. South African sport would have been looking at today as an opportunity at the halfway stage was in India's favour. Brilliant run scoring from Klaasen. Looked like it was South Africa's game. India were forlorn, they were gone. But he went, chased a wide delivery from Hardik Pandya, and suddenly the run scoring ground to a halt. And 16 from 6 balls. Virat Kohli is down there to our left at deep mid-wicket, which is going to be a part of the ground, you sense, where David Miller is going to be trying to target. The wind is blowing in that direction, grey clouds overhead.
Hardik Pandya is going to have to look to bowl it across Miller here. Anything on his legs or anything on the stumps is giving Miller the opportunity to hammer it. Square leg is coming up inside the circle as well, which signifies to me that Hardik bowling over the wicket is going to be targeting that wide line, way outside off stump, deep backward point, deep square cover.
16 from 6. Miller waits, full toss. He's hit it in the air. He's hit it down the ground. Fielder running round. Oh, it's a brilliant piece of work, but this could be 6, it could be out. I do not know. Suryakumar Yadav thinks he's got him. Is that foot down? It required 2 tosses in the air, and I just don't know. Miller is walking, but he's asking the question. This is going to take some work from the TV umpire. Should have been 6.
Yeah, it's quite a remarkable piece of fielding from Suryakumar Yadav, sprinting to his left, right underneath us. We're like a bird on top of that piece of play, right down below us. He's caught it beyond the boundary rope. He throws it up, his feet go the other side of the rope, he then jumps, catches it whilst it's mid-air.
Best angle for the catch, please.
For me, that's out. We'll find out now.
By the way, the ground staff are gathering. 161 for 7 is what the scoreboard reads. Here we go. Suryakumar Yadav takes the catch. Foot is not on the boundary. He tosses it up. He goes over the boundary. Eyes fixed on the ball.
Keep it rolling through, please.
Gets it again. Takes it again. It's going to be out.
Did you have any other angle from just behind, please? Thank you.
It's a quite staggering piece of fielding under pressure.
Foot's inside there. Foot's inside there. Foot's inside there. Thrown up.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
Keep it rolling, please. Keep it rolling. Yeah, foot's inside there. Keep it rolling. Thank you. Ready with my decision for the big screen.
Umpire Kettleborough is about to delight every single person in this ground, and a great many more back in India. It's out. It's 16 from 5. And David Miller got a full toss that he couldn't punish down the ground. He has hit so many of them in his career a mile. He almost got enough, within an inch or 2 of clearing the brilliance of Suryakumar Yadav, but he couldn't quite get all of it.
He stayed. Had he moved across his crease there, David Miller, I think he'd have met that in the middle of the bat and it would have cannoned into the media centre up here, but his feet have stayed rooted on or around middle stump, which means when that ball is full and drifting away from him outside towards the wide line, all he can do is catch it with the toe end of the bat. It's exactly what Hardik Pandya wants. And because he doesn't catch it as clean as he possibly could, it balloons up in the air, and for all love or money, I thought that was going to get over the head of Sky down there at long off, but it didn't. Rabada's at the crease with loads to do.
16 needed from 5. Rabada, edge 4! Big swing and luck.
And it's hacking down as well.
It's raining. The rain falls. 165 for 7, 12 needed from 4. The rain is falling. If you're gonna swing, swing hard. And he does, Gagisa Rabada. He's another left-hander.
And he can bat.
He can.
He can bat, he can whack him. He got South Africa over the line the other evening in a nervy one against the West Indies. 12 from 4. That changes the field, makes India think about something different. Deep backward point comes up inside the circle. Deep third goes out exactly for that outside edge.
12 from 4. The rain just easing a bit. Just adding to the drama. 12 from 4. Rabada taps his bat. Hardik Pandya with a deep breath pushes off below us. Running away to bowl at Rabada, who swings again mightily, and Maharaj is running through to take the run. that will see the equation to 11 from 3. For me, Rabada's more likely to hit you these runs. I think he's the 6 hitter. I'm not sure Maharaj. He's good for a nudge and a nurdle, but he's not going to necessarily launch the ball out of the ground, particularly because Rabada is swinging towards the side where the wind is blowing. They take the bye. 11 needed from 3.
Yeah, good bowling from Pandey. Takes the pace off it. The ball before, the 2 balls before, had been pace on. That one, I think, he's just run his fingers down the ball, span and spat into the chest of Rishabh Pant, who just smothered it rather than trying to catch it. Swooped the ball on the rebound and had a shy at the stumps. Maharaj was home though. South Africa get a single. 11 from 3.
Hardik Pandya down below us, knowing that this ball could be almost the game. Runs into bowl to Maharaj, a lonely figure in the middle, and bowls onto the pads. They'll run through for 1 leg by, and Rabada is saying, don't you think about it. And it is now 10 from 2. He needs a 6. He's got to find a 6. It's 167 for 7. A reminder, South Africa needed 30 to run a ball. They needed 26 and 24. And this game has fallen away from them. And India and their fans are celebrating. Rohit Sharma won't think this is job done, but they're mighty close to it. This ball could be it. And Heinrich Klaasen has buried his face in a grey towel sitting in the dugout. His efforts look like being in vain. There is still hope, but that window of opportunity for South Africa to win their first World Cup is closing agonisingly. 10 needed from 2. This delivery doesn't go for a boundary. India, providing no balls and wides are avoided, will be there. Hardik Pandya down below us to bowl to Kagiso Rabada. 167 for 7. 10 needed from 2. It's outside the off stump, wide. 9 needed from 2. So it could be 2 4s to take us to a super over, everybody.
I'd actually really enjoy that. I would enjoy that.
I think we all would.
It's been a remarkable game of cricket. Brilliant tournament as well. So many finishes like this.
Hardik Pandya leans on his knees, he's nervous.
Yeah, you've got this funny situation now where Rohit is the captain of India and Hardik is the captain of the Mumbai Indians.
Oh yeah, that dynamic. Just add a little something else. 9 needed from 2. Hardik Pandya to bowl to Kagiso Rabada. Taps his bat, waits for Hardik, who runs in now. It's been hit down the ground aerially. Fielder running in. Surya Kumar Yadav with the catch. Jubilation for India. Virat Kohli doesn't celebrate with his team because he turns. He sees those supporters that have wanted him to lift the trophy for so long, and now he buries his head in his hands. And India celebrate in the middle. Though we have a ball remaining, they know it's job done. And Virat Kohli, way down below us, leaning on his knees, staring at the ground for so long. So many have said this man, he just can't win trophies. He doesn't do it internationally, doesn't do it domestically. But in a few minutes' time, he will have his hands on a T20 World Cup trophy. It's a long time since he was part of that India squad in 2011 that won. From Mumbai via a Champions Trophy in Birmingham to Bridgetown in the Caribbean, it is going to be India. 9 needed from 1 ball. South Africa had this game. They had it won. But India have fought back thanks to some brilliant bowling. Some slightly panicked batting at times. But 9 from 1 ball just does not go. Heinrich Nortje, well, he's going to have to do his job here. But India flags are flying, the music is cranking up. And Hardik Pandya stands at the end of his mark knowing a legitimate delivery. It doesn't matter what happens with it, because 9 are needed from 1 ball. And here comes Pandya to finish this World Cup. He runs in over the wicket, bowls a ball which is clobbered into the leg side on the bounce. India already celebrate. And Rohit Sharma lies on the ground, punches the turf. And India, with the flags waving, have won a World Cup for the first time in more than a decade. the superpowers of the world game. It seemed inexplicable they wouldn't reach this mark at some stage. Ahmedabad in November felt like the moment. They lost to Australia. They looked like losing here to South Africa. But as the group in blue and orange celebrate in the middle, they've done it. And for over 1 billion people, that is all that matters. They've done it, they've won it, and India are champions of the Men's T20 World Cup here in the Caribbean.
What a fascinating, fascinating game of cricket we've watched there. It toed, it froed right from the very beginning. You couldn't tell who was on top in the game. Virat Kohli anchored the Indian innings. He was supported all the way through with cameos. And there was that stage where Klaasen and Miller were going. They had it under control. And that small break in play where Rishabh Pant sat, had his knee strapped up, just took the sting out of the game for 2 or 3 minutes, left Klaasen and Miller pouring around in their creases. And the very next delivery, Klaasen edged a slower ball to Pant himself from the bowling of Hardik Pandya. And that moment there felt like the game. And then the great Jasprit Bumrah got rid of Janssen, and then it all looked uphill. Rested on the shoulders of David Miller, but you have to give credit to India. They fought. It's the hardest they've been pushed in this tournament. They had a close-ish game with Pakistan during the group stage, but under pressure, their IPL superstars have delivered, and spare a thought for South Africa. They've played a magnificent tournament. They really have. For me, they deserve more, but the powerhouse and the juggernaut that's India had too much for them today, under pressure.
And Harsha Bogle, the great broadcaster, has just done a jig of delight across the outfield in celebration as India finally can celebrate a World Cup win. Many say that with the resource, with the strength and depth, they should win every tournament they play, and this could be the start of an incredible run, who knows? But they have got the World Cup win. It looked certain they'd win in the 50-over edition at home. It was all set up. It was a coronation, it felt, until Travis Head and Australia had their say. Today, it looked as though it was drifting away from them, and South Africa, who have been in the dugout and unable to come out and bring themselves out towards the middle, a few of them do begin to emerge and walk out towards the Indian side that are congratulating each other, and will soon take the handshakes from South Africa as well, who will be devastated. South Africa, who have come so close to finals so many times. They made the final, they climbed that hurdle, and the game was theirs. They will sit in their bar tonight and think we had